crazy over here. Hey, welcome. I drink and I know things. God damn right I do. What's up? How you doing, Jensen? How's it going, Farty?
Hey, if I
I'm
knew it was
doing
going to be this
fine,
kind of a
thank
party, I
you.
would have stuck my dick in the potato salad.
You're weird. Just saying it up front. I don't want there to be any questions. You're weird. I like you, but you're weird.
I've
Have
heard
you
that
ever
phrase.
felt like you wanted to go full Daddy 05 mode? No, just me. Okay, I'll move on. Anyway,
Little bit of parenting advice for you there, Dodge. I find waving the gun around really works.
I have already said shock collars, but nobody listens to me.
Tranquilizer guns.
well, I was thinking Velcro walls, but you know, it is what it is. We all have our own ways to cope.
But that's cultural appropriation from midget tossing.
Hey, that's ours.
Yeah, welcome to the Trebno state. Anyway, all right. So what I want to talk about tonight is I just kind of want to shoot the shit about some entertainment stuff. We got Game of Thrones dropping here in a couple weeks. You have what they call a show, Discovery, still going on.
It's easy, mate.
Game of Thrones is still, or not Game of Thrones, but The Walking Dead is still around too, right?
Yo.
Like, has anybody even talked about that show, or did it just fall off the map?
I heard him talking about it earlier. They were going to, they were considering on renaming it from The Walking Dead to Kicking a Dead Horse.
Yeah, good name. Sorry, that show died for me the moment Negan turned up. I was done. Bye-bye. That was it.
Yeah, I got the
What
first.
do you have against baseball bats?
I got to the end of the first season, and it was kind of like, okay, right, the whole military got fucked up by all these zombies and stuff like that, but there's like these small little group of country bumpkin, incompetent fucking retards who would normally get themselves killed in normal society, but they can do, you know, how the hell did cunts in Abram tanks get fucking trapped by squishy humans? Why couldn't they just drive over them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's the cognitive dissonance.
Trust me, I know exactly what it would take to stop it. And there ain't enough people. Just not happening. No. Goodbye. Trundle, trundle. I'm done, mate.
Mm.
Seriously. It would take a miracle. I mean, literally, God must come down and kick you in the balls for a zombie to be able to take out a tank.
But this was the episode that really did it for me. It was right up, I think it was just in the beginning of the second season. And they're on this highway, and you can see the long shot of the highway. There's about 2 miles down the highway from where they came from. They hit a traffic jam. Now, instead of getting like newer vehicles and better working, but they're in this cavalcade of old fucked up wrecks. Anyway, you can see like down the street while they're talking, exposition and all this kind of stuff, and you're thinking, right, what's the bet they're going to have some zombies just happen upon them and they'll be surprised with all of this distance they can see around them. All of a sudden, holy shit, the zombies are only 100 yards off their ass. So they all hide and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there thinking, now what's the bet? All the zombies will go away, and then they'll come out and go, oh, yeah, you beauty. Ah, well, we fucking dodged that bullet. And then all of a sudden, one more will come out of nowhere, and then they'll get somebody. Sure enough, that's exactly what happens. But what happens then is that one of the little kids runs off into the bush. Instead of running towards safety, she runs the other fucking direction. Like, why did you have to write that in? Fuck this joint.
Well, no, and why even look for the little bitch? Like, I'm sorry. If you're dumb enough to run off towards the zombies, then get eaten, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
remembering that I'm cheering on the zombies.
Right? Well, you would, Jensen. I mean, we all know about you and your eating habits.
Zombie rights matter. Screw you lot. Fucking air breathers.
Fucking air breathers. At least you didn't call me a mouth breather.
Well, at least we're not cup drinkers.
That's fair. That's the real lowest of the low.
Yeah, well, no, I gotta make that t-shirt. Go cup yourself. That needs to be a t-shirt.
this shit belongs to the Mad Dodge Productions, man. Come on.
Yeah, copyright is circa 2019, motherfuckers. Don't you be stealing that shit, Worski. I see you. No.
So the only problem with that is that it's already on air that it was actually me who suggested all of this.
Dude, you're from a fake country. Like, when are you going to figure this out? We don't count you.
See, that's the problem with fake countries is that, well, we can still kill people.
B actually started the coppers thing, but what the hell?
Oh, are we really giving your sister credit? I thought we agreed not to do that ever. Like,
no, she can, you know, I'm okay with her getting the blame for that.
well, when she said she was willing to be my secretary and was all right with me slapping her on the ass, I figured that she was all right. So, okay, we'll give her a little bit of credit. No sexual harassment suit. I'm good. But no, me and Mitch here, he just joined. Welcome, Mitch. I think this is your first time here on the show, so welcome, sir. Be prepared for the madness that is this show. But we were talking about the entertainment industry and how, like, they're even fucking up Star Trek. I mean, how do you fuck up Star Trek? How do you fuck up something that Gene Roddenberry's whole idea was to paint a pretty picture of the future? How do you fuck that up? Oh, wait, you make Discovery, right?
Well, you screw it up with politics. That's not a fair statement. Okay. Because it's not simply politics, is it? It's heavy-handed politics. Star Trek has always had a political aspect, and I think everyone's pretty much fine with that. You know, when they went with the anti-nuclear thing with the guy that was it was also an anti-racist thing with the guy who was half black and half white, and his
well, yeah, or what? Like,
whatever.
What was it? What was it? Star Trek 3? Sorry to cut you off, but the Save the Whales theme, right? I mean,
oh no, that was Star Trek 4.
The Voyage Home.
Okay, but what I'm saying though is they delved into politics before. This isn't new to them, but they messed it up this time, right?
Well, yeah, they messed it up by turning it into the but by using the after-school special method. You know, that's probably a reference a lot of people won't get if you're not as old as I.
Well, no, I get it. It's like I'm not tuning in to watch Boy Meets World, and besides, Boy Meets World had Topanga, so fuck off.
There is that, but no, they've turned it into, and they don't do it so much anymore, which is kind of good. But when they came out, you know, they threw all that politics into it right up front with first woman main character. Yeah, but what about Janeway? Oh, first black main character. Oh, what about Ben Sisko? Oh, first black woman character. I think they changed an article. They changed like an opinion piece or news article about it to fix that error repeatedly.
Well, yeah, no, and like you have a point there, and also like look at Sisko. Why did they shave his head? They shaved his head and gave him a goatee to make him look more badass. It wasn't trying to make him look like Picard.
Actually,
it wasn't.
That wasn't it. That was Avery Brooks came in to work with the shaved head and his goatee, and he said, "Well, like it or not, this is a new look." And I don't think anyone minded. I mean, he'd been sporting that look for a long, long time. He'd had that look back when he was doing that show Spencer for Hire, playing the character Hawk.
I don't remember that show. I do remember him. He was in American History X, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. And I believe he was sporting that look then too.
Yeah, no, he was. That was the reference I was going for. Yeah, and American History X, dude. Talking about the entertainment industry, do you guys think you can make that movie circa 2019? I don't think you could.
Not at all.
However,
It's like-
Black Klansman's just come out. Having said that,
That's true. But no, Star Trek Discovery. Sometimes it's. Where I should mention the other big political elephant that they dropped on everyone was when they said that this new version of the Klingons was going to be representative of Trump supporters. I mean, oh my God, what is it with entertainment these days? Well, actually, since 2016 with the Lady Ghostbusters. Why can't you just make a product and let people like the product or not? You know, don't go into your marketing disavowing and shunning a big chunk of your viewer base.
Well, no, and what exactly is the point of that when last I checked, President Trump won the election, so that would tell me there's a majority of people that support his presidency. Why are you shooting yourself in the foot from a financial standpoint?
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. What do you have to gain from pissing off a huge portion of your built-in audience? And it is these franchises with a built-in audience. They did it with Ghostbusters. That had a built-in audience. They did it with okay, well, we've already talked about Star Trek Discovery. So that, yeah, they did it there. They did it with Star Wars. There's a big built-in audience. They did it with Doctor Who. There's a big built-in audience. They did it with Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the MCU. The MCU has a huge built-in audience.
Well, no, and you want to dive into Doctor Who, Jensen? I'm sure you have a few things to say about that fucking mess, right?
Yeah. Doctor Who. Just why? Okay, they had a perfectly decent show. It was goofy. It was strange. It had moments that just made you sit there go, what the fuck was that? But at least it was halfway decent. Then they brought that bin in, and oh my God, it died. It died really bad. I wasn't even able to make myself watch the last few episodes. I couldn't do it. I'm actually going through Star Trek Discovery just because I want to see how bad it gets. But I couldn't do Doctor Who. I couldn't.
I haven't touched it yet. It's available to me. I can go and touch it all I want, but they killed my interest.
Well, no, and
I don't.
Did they even do a good job getting Maisie Williams on there? She, from Game of Thrones.
I know.
Did she do a good job? I don't know. I haven't.
No.
There were bad elements with her, but there were also some good elements too. I mean, they presented some interesting ideas, but those interesting ideas didn't revolve around Maisie Williams being female. The interesting idea was that the Doctor had done something that basically made her immortal, but she was confined to Earth because he wouldn't take her with him in the TARDIS through time and space and all that good stuff.
Well, do you guys...
when they would interact later on, it was really interesting because she had lived so long that her brain could not. Her brain was no longer physically big enough to contain any more information. So, in order to contain or to take in the new information, it had to start pushing the older stuff out, essentially. And so, her memory about her early past was gone. But she had kept journals, so she knew who the Doctor was because she read her journals. There's some interesting. It was an interesting examination of the human condition in that way.
Well, no, that's really interesting. It sounds almost like the movie Memento, where he gets tattoos because after every day he forgets everything, and he has to restart. So he got the tattoos that way he could know his own past, right? He would do a new tattoo every day, basically.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the same idea, right?
It's similar, but I mean, her memory was longer than a day. I mean, it's not like she had to write things down every day, but she probably did eventually, just because that's the most efficient way to do it. So you don't have to sit there and go, okay, what did I do this year? Just keep just do it like a regular diary entry and just keep up with it. But, it was a really good examination of the human condition in that way, especially when the doctor comes back and she knows who she is, or she knows who he is, but, only because of what she's read. So, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on that level. But at the same time, they did some things where it was like they were just saying, look, everyone, it's Maisie Williams. Remember Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones? Look, it's Maisie Williams, everyone. And they did some shallow things that I thought
they should have done the Mark Hamill scene from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Every time she comes on, that pauses, she looks at camera, smiles, and says, "Hey kids, it's Lacey Williams."
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I describe what they're doing with Star Trek Discovery sometimes, and some of these other properties. You kind of sit there and wait for them to look at the camera, for the main character to stare just dead right into the camera and say, now let this be a lesson to you kids out there. It's that kind of thing. It's preachy.
Oh yeah. Now after she's like, let that be a lesson to you kids, and then they cut to the G.I. Joe saying, the more you know.
Exactly. And knowing is half the battle.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so you have the reemergence of stuff like Stargate. They're doing a new short form show at least, and they're trying to do a longer form. You have X-Files coming back last year. Do you think some of these other franchises can come and fill the spot?
Say, what was that again?
Okay, yeah, sorry, my kids are like, oh, I'm gonna kill them. But no, do you think some of these other franchises like Stargate is coming back with a short form show? They already did season 1 of it. They're gonna do more and perhaps move into more longer form shows. You have X-Files being revived last year, right?
Yep.
Do you think some of these other franchises will step up and fill the emptiness that has become our entertainment industry?
Well, we have one that already has, and that's the Orville. Whether or not you like Seth MacFarlane, the Orville actually covers it. The Orville does that thing where it examines the human condition. And there's a dick or fart joke in there sometimes, but that's just how look at how we talk to each other. That's just how people talk to each other. They're not always all caught up in the number of rank pins on their uniform. It's just the way people are. They talk to each other, and they do that on Orville. That makes it more presentable as a. It serves to humanize the characters. Even the alien characters, it serves to humanize them, and you get a really interesting either morality play or examination of the human condition, and that's what science fiction is supposed to do. I hope that Stargate, when it makes its return, does not fall into this trap that we see happening with all these other franchises, because Stargate has a unique place in the science fiction landscape.
Oh yeah,
and it should maintain it.
And with that too, they've already had lots of female characters. They've had black characters. They've had all sorts of other different characters. They had all the demographics except for your openly gay coming out the closet going da-da-da type of shit. So they've already done that. They've even already done the first episode where fucking what's her name first rocks up and they're like, oh geez, it's a woman. It's like, yeah, I got tits in the twat. Get over it. And then that was it. That was
exactly.
It. And that was perfect.
And they never really showed her any disrespect, but
no,
they also never really heavily pushed that I am woman, hear me roar narrative. She was a part of the team. No one questioned it. No one doubted her. In fact, she was the one they often went to for answers because she was a freaking genius.
Yeah.
But they didn't have to throw the genius in your face. It was brilliant.
Well, no, and real quick, Zero Cool's in the chat. He says, Mad Dodge, I drink and I know nothing. Hey, dude, I'm not Jon Snow, goddammit. All right? I know a few things.
But, alphabet.
No, and I'll use that as a segue into Game of Thrones. It's dropping on the 14th of next month. Yeah, damn right I'm gonna jump on that fucking bandwagon. We're gonna be shoving at least 2 Game of Thrones videos out a week. God damn it. I don't give a fuck. But that show hasn't necessarily been infected with for lack of a better term, the STDs.
Well, I find it's actually the Game of Thrones stars going into other things that actually infected with diseases. It seems to me that like the Game of Thrones cast works epically on Game of Thrones, but if you take one of them out and put them in a different movie, doesn't matter what movie it is, doesn't matter how small the character is, as soon as you put one of them outside of Game of Thrones, the movie will bomb. It's like infecting it with a disease.
That can happen.
Yeah, so you look at like Terminator and the Genesis and all the other movies that the Game of Thrones stars have been in, and how shit they've been.
Well, to be fair, Terminator Genesis was really, really bad.
Yeah, I know. It didn't help though that like to go, oh, we're bringing Sarah Connor back. Who's this bitch?
Yeah.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's not my Sarah Connor.
That's the other thing is they keep going backwards. The only thing it's good to go backwards in is Doctor Who because it's time travel in the first place. That's perfectly fine. But with Star Trek, we've had the rehash with the J.J. Abrams films. We've had going backwards with the show Enterprise, and now going backwards again with Star Trek Discovery. Why can't we move forward? Are they afraid that they can't come up with a new technobabble thing?
Well, here's the thing, though. They're going to move forward with the Picard series, and this is where it's do or die for Star Trek for me. Because I am a fucking huge Star Trek fan. If they fuck up this Picard series, I'm done. All right? Like, I fold. I'm out.
Pack your bags. Get them ready next to the door. I'm pretty much
Yeah.
guaranteeing you're gonna leave.
Yeah, I think I'm worried about it because I don't trust the people behind it. In fact, I came up with a brilliant way to make Star Trek Discovery work and line up in canon with everything else that came before. It's the perfect way to do it. On the last episode, you do like they did with Enterprise when they had that last little adventure, and turns out the whole time it was Riker in a holodeck.
Don't you say that was a good episode of Enterprise?
Oh no, I'm not. I hated that. But here's how you take that and make it work for Discovery to put Discovery perfectly in line with canon. You end the program in the holodeck, and it turns out it's actually a classroom with let's say kids age 10, and what they were watching is a sort of a hollow novel version of a book report, and the teacher gives the child a failing grade because it was obvious that the child used a bad robot to produce the hollow report.
I like that. I see what you did there.
Yes. Exactly. Never use a bad robot to produce your hollow report. And have it set in the 25th century.
Get a hollow doctor fucking show up from Voyager.
I thought about that, but it would be really hard because Robert Picardo is aging. It'd be hard to make him look right.
You know what's weird, actually, since we are talking about Star Trek, I got the Blu-ray version of Generations. I know, not the best movie, guys. I just needed it for my collection. All right.
I understand being a completist.
Yeah. So we were watching it on the plasma TV, right? And it looked a lot better, but Data looked green. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Data's not green.
No,
Like,
that was something that lots of fans brought up too at the time. What the fuck is Data green?
Yeah, it's like they forgot the color formula for his makeup or something.
Okay, so like the Blu-ray isn't defective.
No, he is green. Yeah, he is green. It's not supposed to be green, but he is green.
But you know, that's one of those things where they'll break canon in that kind of a way, and then a fan of the new canon, let's call it, will say, "Well, no, it's just because Data have the ability to change his skin color. If he can grow hair on his face and have a beard in one episode, then he should be able to change his skin color if he wants to."
But they did a similar thing with Data, not Data, LaForge as well, where one of the movies he doesn't have his visor on anymore, and they put weird eyes in his head to do the visor thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and they did that for one of the movies.
Yeah, First Contact, he had the implants instead of the visor, and it was fine. You know, we as a group of Star Trek fans, we'll accept the fact that technology evolves. You know, we're fine with that.
Yeah, no, and the idea of they got to put a fucking hair beret on his fucking face to make it see was ridiculous to begin with. I mean, come on.
No, that's actually kind of a good idea if you're gonna you know, because part of science fiction involves that type of transhumanism. You know, where there's a bit of the melding of man and machine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, no, and you remember that season 1 episode where they're on the planet and that drone is, you know, shooting them up and stuff?
Yes.
That was just a dude with a stick, like, running around.
Yeah.
Like, the way they did this shit was fucking brilliant.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
that thing,
absolutely.
just going back to Data and his skin color and all that kind of stuff as well. It's like, yeah, I'd write it in just to explain the green skin color. Is that like, you know, the 25th century or something like that? The androids evolved to a stage that they could sort of do the same thing as humans, and Data just had the same skin condition as what Michael Jackson had, but instead of going white, he went green.
Yeah,
Yep.
but then they follow up generations with First Contact, and guess what? Data's not green. So, you know. Oh, B showed up and found out we were talking about Star Trek and buggered off.
Yep.
That's how it happens. Star Trek
You're
isn't
in
for
trouble
everyone.
now.
But you know, you want to know a real tragedy of this kind of I don't even know what to call this marketing, because it's really bad marketing the way they do this. With the new Star Wars trilogy, they really blew some opportunities because the writing was so bad. I mean, Daisy Ridley, okay. I think it's a bit of a waste of material. Some people don't like don't like her acting, and that's fine too. But Daisy Ridley is she's attractive. She's got a really cute smile. You know, she's got physical, visual, what do you call, characteristics that make you want to root for her as a character. Okay, that you want to identify with her because she's cute. You know, you don't want to see her get hurt. You want to see her win. But they blew that by making her a Mary Sue. Now, every time you see Daisy Ridley, you're like, oh, fuck this again.
Well, yeah, it wasn't really the thing of what she did in the movies. I mean, she only did what was written for her in the movies. It was what she did outside of the movies was the bloody problem. That's the same thing as what Brie Larson was doing. Had she just shut the fuck up, everyone would have gone to see her movie and would have enjoyed it. But now they're going in with this stigma of like, oh, great, there's this political connotation on this. I have to like it or else I'm a insert fucking demographic here kind of thing.
And that's what I don't get about this marketing. It seems like it's drive-by marketing. Let's call it that. It's insult, belittle, and abuse your fan base, or at least a big, significant portion of it, and then demonize them when your project fails.
Yeah, no. And what happened to the days when they didn't mind being criticized? because look at CBS Corporation right now. And if you're a Star Trek YouTuber, which I'm not, I do mostly political shit, but I do talk about Trek. But like, they will shut your ass down, man. They will copyright you. They will fucking nail you to the wall. Try and make a fan film over 20 minutes. Not gonna happen, dude.
Just going back to Daisy Ridley, just real quick. In the what was it fucking called? The bloody Force Awakens. The one thing I noticed about Daisy Ridley that she does really, really, really well is that when she's like in peril or something like that, she has this expression on her face that comes from a certain type of porno video, which I can describe as a prepare to be boarded look on her face. She does this about to take it up the arse look, really, really well.
Yeah, she does. It's that oh shit, I'm dead look.
No. It's more like a.
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
My ass is gonna hurt.
Yeah, well, yeah. She knows she's gonna get it, basically.
Mm.
And you're right. She does. She does that really well, but it's completely wasted because they reveal that there never were any stakes to begin with because
she's super duper.
Yeah, she's born badass.
Well, no, and here's the thing, Wolfshot, you just jumped in, welcome. But I think you have a different take, right? You don't necessarily think feminism and the SJW culture is necessarily making movies and TV bad, do you?
Wait, hold on. What are we talking about? Because I assumed we were talking about Sarah being dead.
No, I wasn't bringing her up. Actually, I didn't mention her at all.
I'm sorry, dude.
We're just talking about TV, yo.
Oh well, fuck. It depends on like. I call myself a feminist, but I'm a traditional feminist. I'm not like crazy.
What do you mean by traditional? Do you mean first wave, second?
I don't know, dude. I think that like women should be able to go into combat, but have the same standards as men. Like there should be no gendered standards.
Okay, so, I think I've got it figured out. You're the kind of feminist who does not run around wearing a twice cunted ass hat.
Well, I was a cop, so I mean, like we didn't have gendered standards when I was. You either made it or you didn't.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about it. Like
you're not the professional protester feminist.
Yeah, I am the one who actually gets off her ass and, actually gives these women's quote unquote the rights they've been looking for, and yet they don't do anything to contribute but whine, bitch, moan, and complain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're talking about equality, not superiority.
Not equity.
Right?
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody is better than anybody. I think we all suck. Yeah. Some suck worse than others, obviously.
Some suck out loud.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, some suck better. No.
So like, if you want to be if you want to be a Marine, you want to be a sniper, great. And you're a woman, that's great. You just have to pass every single fucking trial that a man does. And if you can't, well, goodbye. Fuck off. But if that woman can make it to combat, let her.
Well, yeah, if she can't make it as a sniper, go try recon.
Yeah, if she can do like Navy SEALs or something, let her. If she can make it with non-gendered standards, yes. Yes.
Well, no, and the thing is, like, I've always been, since I was a teenager, 6 feet, 220 or so, 200. I still didn't want to go join the army. I didn't want to be yelled at. I didn't want to fucking follow orders. So I didn't fucking sign up. The same should be for anybody else, right? I mean, know your own limits.
Well, like today, right? I was actually going to do a stream. I just got home. I was detained by the police for about 45 minutes. Since it's St. Patrick's Day weekend, people like to party hard. I was at the Wawa getting some chewing tobacco, and this drunk dude decided to lean on me. Like, I mean, physically lean on me. Like, hey, get the fuck off me, bro.
This is amusing.
And He's muttered to me in something drunkenese, I don't know. And my friend was working the cash register. His name's Brett. He's about, the size of my arm, 100, like barely 100 pounds. Fucking, he's like, "You're drunk, dude. You need to leave." And he's like, he grabs my hoodie and he's like, "We're going outside, boy." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" So
this is something I always find amusing. St. Patrick's Day, celebrated wildly in America, hardly even noticed in Ireland.
This fucking fat fuck is sitting there trying to swing at me. I get like 2 shots in at his face. Cops come. Fucking, I'm detained, and I'm like, I look up at the cop. I'm like, "Look, am I getting arrested? Because I want to go home now." Because the dude's telling the cops a completely different story than what happened. Brett's like, "Look, she told him to leave her alone, to stop leaning on him. He's obviously intoxicated, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, going a million miles an hour. My anxiety is like a 10. So I'm sitting there with my cuffed at the side of the Wawa. If you don't know what a Wawa is, it's like a gas station with food, better food, like a Sheetz or something. I don't fucking know. It's like 7-Eleven, but better food. And fucking, it was a fucking nightmare, dude. And my fucking knuckles are like, I have a good chunk of my index finger knuckle, like, just taken the fuck out. And my hand's wrapped. It hurts like shit. I just wanted to get some Steel Reserve and some chewing tobacco and go home.
Damn it.
Moral of the story.
Beer. What's wrong with the world?
No,
Moral of the story is never hit bone on bone.
The dude is fucking drunk out of his ass buying 4 more things of Bud Light. And I'm like, ew, you're fucking good.
Yeah, there's another moral of the story here. Yeah, never punch a drunk. They hardly ever feel it.
Oh,
Like,
here's
no,
more.
I mean, I hit him square. I hit him in the I hit him square in the face, man. Like the triangle hit him fucking right in the face. But my fucking ring or something must have. I don't know what the fuck happened, dude. It was just. I'm so pumped right now.
No, didn't you just get shot a couple months ago? Like, stop it, girl. Knock it off.
Dude, I was just trying to take a shit, and the guy comes in and wants to rob the store, all right? I don't know what to do.
Move.
You give me the money, I'll
use your
move.
soiled toilet paper as a weapon.
No, I didn't start shitting, but fucking when he came and shot me, I almost shit on myself, for real.
Fucking rip out your tampon and chase him around with it.
Just let loose a fart that'll make a stranger sweat.
No, I tried. I screamed out, "You fucking nigger," though. That was pretty good.
Demonetized.
He's not. Oh, you're live.
Stream is ended.
I'm never monetized. All right, they don't like me at
No,
YouTube.
I thought this was a fucking just a group hangout. I didn't realize this was live. Fuck, I'm sorry, Mad Dog. I'll leave. I'll leave. I'll leave.
No, don't leave.
Why leave? Why?
Because I said the N word. I can't say the N word.
Their dog has been worse said on this.
I know, but I
can't.
I can't say the N word, dude, on here.
Yeah, there's been.
You just fucking did, darling. Don't worry about it.
There's been more of a button word said on this stream than the N word.
Oh, well, here we go.
You've just fucking done it, so don't worry about it. It's all right.
The views expressed by the panel are not necessarily the views of Mad Dodge Productions.
I'm so stupid. I totally didn't see the giant yellow live sign. I'm sorry, dude.
It's kind of like when you went to rob that 7-Eleven, you didn't see it was closed. Whatever.
Fucking cops, though, man. It's like, are you sure this is the way it happened? Do you want to press charges? I'm like, no, I want to go home. Leave me alone. Just let me go home.
I just want my Steel Reserve. Can I go?
I know, right? I want my dip and I want my Steel Reserve. Let me go.
I want to go home so I can scoop out my panties in privacy of my own home.
Gross.
I'm surprised they only held you for 45 minutes.
Did you get your Steel Reserve? Because I'm stuck drinking Rolling Rock right now.
Ew. Oh, man. No, I got mine and I got my dip, so I'm ready to go. It's all about freedom.
Like Dodge there has a very good reason to drink.
He's got 12 kids. Why?
No, it's worse than that.
That's the ones he knows of.
He's a Dodgers fan.
Wait, what?
Dude,
Oh,
you know what, man? I'm about sick of this Red Sox propaganda spewing out of your mouth. All right, I'm about had it, Batman.
They pay better.
So how you been,
hey,
Batman?
hey, Mad Dog, can
No,
I
I'm doing
invite
okay. How you
Irate
doing,
on?
Mitch?
Funky Dory.
Oh, dude, Irate's always welcome. He's in my Discord.
Okay, let me get him in.
And he's calling everybody Nigel.
Nigel, no friends.
Oh,
Niggle.
dude, that's funny. That was my nickname for Cabby back in the day, like a year and a half ago. I always
Nigel.
called him Nigel. He's like, you don't know my name. I'm like, you're British. Your name's Nigel, bitch.
He does,
Oh
sound,
my
like,
god.
he does sound like a Nigel, though, doesn't he?
Cleve Crudgington.
Last night it sounded
Well,
like
that's funny, yeah.
Oh,
Jensen,
Tom-
you would be a
Tom-
Nigel if I didn't know your name was Jensen.
Actually, Cabbage is more like a Tarquin Utterthwaite.
Oh dear.
Oh, is Cabbage gonna be on? Fucking, I want to make fun of Britain some more.
Why not? The rest of the world
Yeah,
is.
how's
we
that
are now.
Brexit going, guys? Is that Brexit nice and hard?
Yeah, the thing
Oh,
is,
it's going great.
mad, there's a queue. If you want to make fun of the United Kingdom, there's a queue.
Yeah, Bear Dog, you can make fun of Britain all you want. It's all fair in love and war because they're all taking the piss out of you guys too.
Yep.
Hey man, that's fine. My neck is red and I fucking just got in a fight with a drunk guy for whatever fucking goddamn reason. I couldn't understand a fucking word coming out of his face.
And I just
Should I
like you
give
all
you
the
my
more now,
theory on what's
Dog.
happened with Britain? Or rather with the UK? Should I give you my theory on what happened with the UK?
Come on.
Go on then.
I'm convinced that the EU managed to convince the UK to export all of its courage to fucking France.
Well, for our leaders, yeah.
And then France gave it away.
Oh, damn.
Damn,
Hey, Cabby,
dude.
where are
That
you?
was
when we-
savage. That was fucking savage. I like this kid. We can keep him around.
Oh, Mitch is savage.
I can be savage. I try not to be too mean, but
I don't think we've ever streamed together, but
I don't think so.
I like you.
Although your avatar reminds me of the show Airwolf with the hat.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know Airwolf.
No, I don't.
Fun fact. The Bell 333 that was used as Airwolf, the actual helicopter itself after the show was sold to a German air ambulance company, and it crashed.
Yep. Yeah, they tried to use
What
boosters.
happened was Angela Merkel in charge of its economy?
No, they give it no, they give it right to Tess Holiday.
Well, no.
Oh,
Damn it, dude.
I still think
Oh.
you're secretly in love with Tess Holiday.
irate.
No,
My man.
No, she is heavily involved in my real estate plan. I just need to get into orbit.
Are you suggesting that that she's that she doesn't have a doctor, she has a groundskeeper?
No, she doesn't have a groundskeeper. She's got a fucking planetary assembly.
She just uses a weed whacker. Wait, what are we talking about again?
I don't think I've
talking
ever
about her
seen her.
butt?
Is she so ugly that her dentist treats her by mail?
Oh,
She-
dear.
Mitch, she's so ugly that when she was a kid, her mother used to feed her by field gun.
She's
Think she-
British. They don't have dentists.
You think she takes? Oh, Jesus Christ!
Hold on a minute, Dodge. We've seen your teeth. You're not wanting to talk.
Hey,
Yeah, I was about to say, white boy, come on.
Dental's expensive in America.
That goddamn Mountain Dew. Shut the fuck up, Mad Dog.
Fuck
Do you think during the holidays she has like family dinners at her house just so she can fatten up the kids to eat them later?
Isn't that what they used to say about John Goodman for Thanksgiving?
No, but apparently before she became a model, she used to hire herself out as a bouncy castle.
Wait, who? wait.
What the fuck is that?
Who's the model?
Tess Holiday.
Yeah, she's a model of the gas giant Saturn.
I thought she was a model.
A scale model.
I saw
Yeah.
one. I saw a picture of once in a silver sequined dress. I thought it was the Death Star.
Nice.
You know, the only thing fashionable I've seen. Have you seen that fucking like on the runway? The bitch looked like a couch. I was into that. It's like, I want to be a couch. I want to be a fucking couch.
That's no moon. That's a space station. That's all.
Oh God, that means that someone's going to have to maneuver down the trench.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't mind being a
Oh,
couch.
thermal exhaust port! Thermal exhaust port!
I want to be a fucking couch.
Well,
man.
whenever,
Yeah, I'd be a couch and get all the women to sit on me.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Whenever Mark Hamill sees Tess Holiday, he keeps having flashbacks to when he used to shoot womp rats with his T5.
See, the Aussie knows what I'm talking about.
It was even earlier than the T16.
God, we're only 46 minutes in and we already devolved to fat jokes. How bad could you go, guys?
My dad called me this morning and was like, "Hey, you want to see some snipers killing some Muslims in the head with a sniper?" And I'm like, "Have you not heard about what happened in New Zealand?" And he's like, "I don't give a fuck."
Wait.
No, Doc, you see, you got to realize this. That never happened. It could not possibly have happened because the bloke was from Australia, it doesn't exist, so he doesn't exist by proxy. New Zealand doesn't exist, and all those people there don't exist by proxy. So 40 people could not have been killed by another person because those 50 people, well, those however many people involved in that are on two places. Yeah, well, 49 plus the fucking shooter, right?
No, he's not dead, is he?
They're all no, I know, but he doesn't exist anyway because he's from Australia. He's an Australian. That doesn't exist, so he doesn't exist.
Well,
neither does New Zealand. Neither do all the people that were supposed to be shot. So
obviously, it's a publicity stunt to make people think Australia is real.
But I have an honest question though, like a real question, like no shit. Like,
what are you doing this stream then?
I'm kind of high, so give me a moment.
The answer is whipped cream and Rice Krispies.
That sounds gay. I don't use lube.
Crispy.
So people who hate Muslims, right? Like a lot of us don't dislike Muslims, right? Are we okay with this shit happening?
No, it's still human beings.
Actually, I'm not, but mainly because
I don't like. I'm not into this. They're innocent people, you know.
Well, that's exactly my thing. I'm not into this because it's a violation of my concept of due process.
And he was a hardcore communist.
He was a hardcore white supremacist.
No. What he said was that if you read the thing, he said that the country that's the closest to what he aspires to is Red China.
Nigga, that shit was like the Turner Diaries and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That's what that shit reminded me of.
This motherfucker wrote the Turner Diaries high on acid.
Pretty much. No, seriously. No, that's how it felt to me, man. Like,
yeah, of course.
But I'm not, like, I see a lot of people like, who cares? They were Muslims. Like my father, for instance, you know, he's like, who gives a fuck? But
you know what you throw at a drowning Muslim, don't you?
A brick.
His wife and children.
Well, you see, a lot of people are like, oh, but it's a humanitarian. We've got to be humans and all this. No, it's a strategic and tactical situation here. Now this bloke has done this over there. That just gives credence for all the Muslims to go, well, fucking see, that white cunt went to New Zealand and fucking shot us up. So now that gives them carte blanche to go and fucking do whatever they want under that excuse.
Struck a piece.
Oh, God, you're right, because they weren't doing it already.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
New Zealand wasn't a problem, but fucking apparently the Muslims are fucked in New Zealand. So fucking now we hate New Zealand.
Isn't that prime
tit for tat revenge killing? They need to find a church Christian church in the Middle East.
Isn't that
not necessarily because this comes from Grafton. Because he's from Grafton in New South Wales, I'm expecting the repercussions to happen here.
Not New Zealand already said that they're gonna do gun law things.
Yeah, well,
no. I'm talking about the Muslims.
No, stop. Full stop, everybody. How many more gun laws can you create when you're already fucking worse than Chicago? I mean, give me a goddamn break here.
New Zealand's worse than Chicago.
Oi, cover. Can I ask you a question?
That's what New Zealand said.
If some Muslim terrorists decide to do a restrike, but in New Zealand, and they picked a Maori church, let's say.
Oh no!
How long would it take before the police had to pull the Maoris off him?
I'd say that it'd be more of a case of that they'd be sponging this person's liquefied remains off the hands of the Maoris.
Don't they have wait? Don't they have a biker gang in Australia that uses like Nazi shit?
Yeah,
like
there's a few of them.
What,
there's like
Zyklon B?
no, they're like the Mad Dog. They're like something with dogs. I can't fucking hold on. Let me look this shit up. Put
Dog
in
the
my-
Bounty Hunter.
Well, no, and Irate,
Yeah.
you haven't really said much since you joined us. Welcome, by the way. But you weren't around yesterday, man. What do you think about the shooter's manifesto? Was he just a crazy guy? Which I think we kind of came to the conclusion, no, he wasn't crazy.
Yes.
He did have a decent IQ. He knew what he was.
Look, only fucking crazy dudes write manifestos, okay? I'm just saying.
Most politicians.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
like Karl
Alexandria
Marx.
Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah, exactly. See,
No,
Just
no,
made the point. Thank you.
there's a difference between crazy and severely incompetent.
Well, what I liked this morning was in one of the articles, they called him an underachiever. You grew up as an underachiever. He killed 49 people. That's a pretty big achievement.
Pretty successful.
Well, it's
Do you
better
know-
than that dumb bitch that tried to shoot up YouTube, right? Like she
Do you
didn't
know-
kill anybody.
Yeah.
Do you know what I liked about this morning? I slept through it.
Okay. See, I'm still convinced the guy's just a. He wanted. I think he wanted his life to end on a note of him being a live-action internet troll.
No.
Yeah. Possibly.
No. The way he was arrested, he wanted to be taken. Like with all the shit that he had, he could have had
He's
a
gonna plead not
last year
guilty.
shootout.
Yeah, he's already
Yeah.
said he's going to plead not guilty.
Yeah, because he considered himself in a war.
And then
Right.
you have a look at his behaviour in court and all this kind of stuff. And I was even saying this to my mum yesterday. I was, fucking, it really does look like he wants to see the aftermath. He wants to bathe in the glory. He wants to be made out to be the infamous fucking Brenton that he is. Like he wants to live in infamy. And they should have just shot the bastard.
They probably should have. We should give him a name so that he doesn't get to use his own.
Well,
Chuck,
if the
there's
Muslims that
already
started firing,
in
if the
Chuck-
Muslims that, I'm sorry, Batman, go ahead.
In Jack, there's already a high Muslim population in the islands in the Southwest Pacific, or the Southeast Pacific, I should say.
The thing is that if the Muslims were better shots to start with, when he attacked that other mosque where they shot back, he would have died right then and there.
Well, this is the thing that really shit me about this, is that the dumb cunt went and did it in New Zealand. And he reckons that he was trying to, expose and, prove that fucking they're nasty and all this kind of stuff. The dumb cunt should have gone to the Auburn Mosque, or Lakemba Mosque, sorry. Because there's been a rumour for over 30 years now that when they built that thing, the bloody muzzos stuck AK-47s and ammunition and shit in the walls. So when their plans get to, near fruition, they've got a large cache of weapons.
Right.
Now, this dickhead should have gone in and shot that place up and started breaking down the walls, but no.
Well, you shouldn't have shot any place up. Let's be clear about that. But
No, what you should have done is you should have gone in there with a large fucking tank on his back, a hose in his hands, and just sprayed the lot with bacon grease.
And we all talked about the fact that since he politicized it with his manifesto and shit, right? Could that be a left-wing false flag?
No.
'Cause I know that it came up yesterday. When I
it did. That was my theory, Irate. I smell a rat, man. I don't think this
Antifa murder.
without people noticing. Not in that type of environment.
Okay, I'll fill you in on another article I was reading this morning, because this bloke come from Grafton in New South Wales, which is a state that I live in, and it's out west. It's country bumpkin land. Now, apparently, this Brenton fellow, he'd been fucking training to shoot at a rifle range out near Grafton, and a lot of the blokes at the rifle range thought he was a bit of a fucking loon and a nutcase, and one guy even went to the New South Wales police and said that this guy is a fucking danger, look into him, and the cops turned around and they said, "Yeah, he's from Dunedin, mate. They're just a bit weird down there. They're mainly harmless. Don't worry about it."
What gets
Literally,
me, though,
that's what they fucking said.
what gets me though is the lack of passerby interaction when he was actually walking into the first mosque. And the length of time it took the police to actually get on scene and arrest him. It's like the police were, we'll wait a bit until he kills a few, then we'll go.
Well, that's part of our doctrine out here, because when we were having the Muslims fighting each other in Sydney, it was a thing. If there was a shooting or a drive-by or something like that, the police would lock the area down, and then they'd wait a little while to make sure that the bastard had fucked off, and then they'd move in.
That's the thing. If you blocked Islamic entry into the West, right, and made sure they stayed in the Middle East, eventually the problem would solve itself.
No.
Yeah,
No,
because
the problem is going to spread from there no matter what.
I just said if you block entry by whether building walls,
they will start a physical attack. They will fly their own planes then into buildings. They will
stop
launch rockets. They'll launch rockets or anything else.
MC, the thing I'm getting at is, left to their own devices, Muslims tend to destroy each other.
Oh, they'll attack one another. And they'll kill one another. That's very true. But the fact is that they will get bigger and better weapons because there's idiots, especially the French, who will sell it to them.
Okay, so
China will sell it to them.
I found that biker gang, and they're called the Mongrel Mob.
Mongrel Mob. They're also that actually came from New Zealand.
Yeah, so like if there's a retaliation, maybe these guys will get involved.
Well, the CIA,
most likely not.
What the CIA and them need to do is plant heavy evidence that Russia is involved in anti-Islamic activities, just enough to trigger them up so they'll want to go and move into Russia instead. Because let's face it, the Russians won't take this shit.
Well, see, that's a funny thing too there as well. If you go on a live leak and you look up what the Russians are doing to migrants and stuff like that, it's already there. Like I saw, Serbian mate was showing me this documentary, and they got this Indian fellow on the train. They kicked the fuck out of him, grabbed his passport, and they literally booted this guy off the train while it was still going. And the documentarian was saying to the leader of this group, he's like, "So what'd you do that for?" And he goes, "These fucking cunts, they come over here, they take our jobs, and they undercut us for the money. No, fuck off. They can go home. Fuck them. We don't want them here." And then they said, "Well, that bloke you just kicked off the train. What happened to him?" It's like, who fucking cares?
It's like have you ever seen pictures of the Russian Navy dealing with Somali pirates?
Yeah.
Every other navy fires across the bows. The Russians don't. They fire at the fucking ship.
Yeah.
That's the body shots.
Well, see, back in the when I was a kid, the first airliner hijacking, skyjacking they called them, that I had encountered was in the 70s. I mean, I'm not saying I was there. I'm saying that it was on the news when I was a kid.
Yes.
And years later, it occurred to me that if that happened, if the first time that happened, if we just blew up the goddamn plane while it was sitting on the runway with our people in it, no one would ever try to hijack another plane in America again.
Yep.
Well, did you notice the Chechens grabbing people ended after the Russians basically threw that gas into that one freaking opera house when they tried to seize it and hold people hostages? And yeah, there were a number of people, none of the innocent people died from that knockout agent that they used, because it pooled in certain areas and people in there just basically died from it. All right, because it was like propofol or something like that. Same thing that killed Michael Jackson.
I think it was back in the 70s. There was these terrorists hijacked a plane, landed it in Tehran. Started meeting demand. So the Israelis just rolled a tank onto the runway and told them, if they don't leave or they don't hand over the fucking passengers, they're going to blow the fucking plane up.
Well, I didn't hear
over the passengers.
I didn't hear what MC thought about this whole thing.
As far as the terrorist attack in itself?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, it's a terrorist attack. There's no doubt about that. Okay.
Well, yeah.
So, second of all, okay, I don't have a problem with the way the media more or less initially was handling the initial outbreak. And what I mean by that was trying to stop it from being filmed and so forth to find out what was going on. But the aftermath of how the media spun it, they're immediately going on television and blaming Trump, Their immediate assumption that this is all a right-wing kind of thing. When no one, let's be perfectly clear here, nobody knows who this guy really is or what his real thing is. We've only got a manifesto of him saying this and him saying that he's doing it to make sure that he creates a race war. But you don't know anything about it, anything more about him than just that, and the fact that he knows that the press will sit up there and demand more censorship, which is exactly what the press is doing. From Forbes magazine all the way through Twitter and everybody else, they're all looking for ways to try and quote unquote prevent this from happening, knowing full well that there's no way to do this, knowing that there's no way that they're going to be able to censor this kind of stuff, and it's going to continue to happen whether you want it to or not.
And the other thing, Mitch, MC, is if you manage to get the censorship, if they manage to get the censorship they want, it would make things like this easier.
Of course it will.
How to attract these people.
I asked my mom about this because my mom, she's a, older generation. She's like, this is kind of what happened with Charles Manson in the 60s, where he wrote a manifesto talking about a race war.
Yeah.
She's like, this is kind of the same deal.
Exactly. Yep. If he couldn't pull it off, nobody can.
Does that mean I can start wearing a T-shirt that says Charles Manson was right?
Well,
I mean, I have a Charles
Manson.
I wrote Charles Manson in prison actually, and got a response back. That was fucking cool.
You gotta talk about.
I'm beginning to worry about you now. I'm beginning to worry about.
What did did his response say? Thank you for the nudes.
No, oh god, no. No, I just basically said, hi, I'm doing a paper on you, so can you tell me about your life story? And it basically goes into a whole bunch of fucking gibberish that I could not goddamn understand for the life of me. And at the end he said thank you. That was pretty much what I got. I might sell it on eBay one day. It'd be cool.
You probably will get a lot of money too.
If only to go back in time and
stop value goes up every year.
If only it goes back in time and make sure that Muhammad wasn't raped by that Jew and that Christian.
No, my mom was talking about how this was a big fucking deal in the late 60s, early 70s,
Yeah, this fucking incident in New Zealand, though, the information that we're getting over here, it does look strikingly like that it's actually not a terrorist attack. It's just this dude, and he's done this under the guise of, and that was the objective. He wants to live in infamy because he's an Aussie terrorist. Well, he did this, and he blah, blah, blah.
It has to be considered a terrorist attack, all right? Because he's doing it for political purposes, and he's doing it to
and the media attacked PewDiePie, anyways. Like the first thing I saw was, oh my god, PewDiePie's the reason why he did this. I'm wow.
Once again, he was even saying he was mentioning PewDiePie to get the press to blame him, and they went right ahead and did it.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I think he's a bit of a shitlord.
Oh, he is to an extent. He definitely is part of the internet culture when it comes to
that's what I mean. But that's what I mean when I say I think he's a live action internet troll.
I'm glad
maybe a gamer.
That's it. That's all he is.
If he was a gamer, that would explain his detachment in the ability to be able to just murder people wantonly like that.
Well, I don't know, man. I'm a gamer, and I know the difference between reality
of course.
Look, the guy. I was wondering how it ended up being such a high death rate to casualty rate, because in normal combat, that's not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I heard about what he did. He basically shot up these people, and then he went back to get more ammo and came back, and the people that were laying on the ground, he basically shot them again. That's why the death toll was so high. But it also shows you just how poor a response was given to this. The fact that this guy can go into any building, I don't care where it is, all right, shoot it up, go back to his car, get more ammo, and then start shooting at the people laying on the ground. All right, you have zero involved with any kind of mentality toward security in any way, shape, or form, personal or otherwise. And this is what happens when you rely upon other agencies to protect you.
Yeah, but that totally reminded me of Columbine here in America.
Also, too, you got to remember that New Zealand doesn't have an offensive navy or an air force anymore. So that's the kind of country that you're looking at, and they're all of like, oh, this is New Zealand, this is nice and safe. We all hippie out here. No one's going to hurt us.
Yeah, they have this. They're like, to be honest, the Kiwis that I've met are pompous freaking Canadians.
Well, same as Australians.
That, we are looking at it is New Zealand's just like the suburbs of Australia. It's where the Australians live.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the same place.
MC, did you watch the footage? Like, I don't know. It reminded me of fucking Columbine for whatever reason.
It didn't remind me of Columbine at all, to be honest, quite frankly. I mean, why did it remind you of Columbine? Just out of curiosity.
Well, them going back and forth between shooting the people, making sure they were dead, kind of like trying to create as much chaos as humanly possible. But I mean, obviously, this dude had his shit together because he wasn't like fucking 15. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And was an edgelord or whatever the fuck, trenchcoat mafia cocksucking bullshit. But you've got kids still now, like, who go to Columbine and kind of like not worship, but kind of like.
I did a story on an attack on a school. It was an elementary school in Brazil where they said that the guys that did it, all right, were trying to emulate freaking Columbine.
Mm.
Yeah. So do you think there's going to be?
Emulate that?
Why do they think that? All the neighbors are saying that.
No, why would you want to emulate that?
Infamy. Infamy. That's all that this is.
It just seems like a weak reason, though.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that means I can't empathize.
It's the narcissistic, nature of the millennials, man.
I don't buy that.
I don't buy that either.
Oh, I do.
I don't buy that for a fucking minute.
The selfie generation.
I mean, I do buy that there is more narcissism, but I don't think it's exclusive to millennials. I think there's more narcissism across all demographics.
No, nobody's saying that. I'm just saying that they're the apex right now.
Narcissism is being praised in the press if you're the right kind of narcissist.
Right.
One of the reasons that they.
Surprised it hasn't happened because some cunt hasn't shown a selfie of him with the shooter yet.
Yeah.
There's an old saying, if I can't be praised as a hero, I'll be feared as a villain.
Yeah. Well, the one of the reasons the media hates Trump, all right, is he's the wrong kind of narcissist. There's nobody that can convince me, or at least you would have a long road to hoe to convince me that Trump is not a narcissist. Okay, the man himself, he talks about himself in such a manner it just annoys the holy crap out of me.
Hey,
he wouldn't be where he was without being a narcissist, without being arrogant.
I love the fact that he compares himself to Caesar in March. I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, go Trump. You're a fucking retard.
Like me and Mr. Quinn, he would probably compare more like to Caesar in Carry On Cleo.
Like Trump. Trump. The irony is killing me right now, dude.
Well, it's no longer the Ides of March, so I think he's safe for another year.
I know it's just, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Oh, his timing was awesome.
I don't like the dude, but like y'all need your own Trump over there.
Here's what I want. I still want to see this happen in the UK. I would love to see this thing happen.
But I'm high on painkillers, so I'll probably say fucking anything.
I want to see Theresa May ousted and and a UK patriot put into her place, and then have Donald Trump get into a backroom shadowed underground type negotiation with the UK, Poland, Hungary, and maybe even France if they maintain the courage.
Like Mitch, have you ever seen
Mad Dog Left, by the way?
Have you ever seen Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Like the walk of shame is what I want to see happen to Theresa May.
Oh no! She still has to be clothed, but
no, it should be covered in cow shit by the time we see her.
Okay, if she's going to do a walk of shame, as long as we don't have
to see what's underneath.
If she's going to do a walk of shame, please don't let her do that little dance.
You
I
know,
told you she's gonna be out there with the belly dance girls with the veil and the symbols on the fingers. I was telling you guys this before.
All right, let me tell you one thing about Muslims, right? Like, you don't see a whole bunch of other Muslims railing against what these extremist Muslims have done, right?
Mhm.
And then you've got supposedly, quote unquote, my people, the LGBTQ, whatever the fuck, supporting
MOUSE.
KFC.
like supporting these people, and I'm just sitting there staring at them like, you know, in Palestine they'll throw you off a fucking bridge or a fucking roof, right?
Yeah.
Y'all know that, right?
Oh yeah.
And
This is why I want Riley Dennis to go to Saudi Arabia.
but Cabbage had a great idea last night. Apparently they're teaching gay shit in British schools, and all the Muslims were like freaking out about it. So Cabbage thinks that we should teach more gay shit in Muslim and get the Muslims the fuck out.
Actually,
So
you just hit a fucking nail on the head there, darling. Fucking,
Yeah,
I've been looking at this all fucking wrong. All of these people marching for gay rights and all this kind of shit. I've been thinking that they're a bunch of assholes and fuckwits, that they're trying to distract us from what's important. But no, they're actually trying to puffersize the place so that it's too puffy for all the Muslims. And the Muslims,
I'm just saying.
what? Holy shit, darling. Fucking thanks for that. I just got a moment of clarity.
Look, I don't want to go over there. Look, don't send me over there. Don't send me. It has to be. It has to be.
Here's Bear Dog, and she's created a recruiting campaign for
No.
gays and lesbians.
No,
I'm betting with you. This might also
it's
explain
gotta be.
the
It's gotta be the gayest dudes you can find. Like,
this might also explain
Jack from Will and Grace.
A lot of them get dressed up as pigs.
yeah, and they rub bacon all over themselves and shit in class. I'm saying this
Ill
can
tail
happen.
brand bacon lube.
Just don't send me over there because I'll just end up shooting a motherfucker for real and not give a fuck.
That's one thing we I've said before, and I'll say it again. Up until the late 90s, the West was strong. We didn't have trouble from the Middle East, from Islam. Now the West is weak, and all we get is trouble from Islam and the Middle East.
Well, I got to say, since President Trump has been in office, how many Muslim attacks on America have there been?
Hello. I was about to bring that up.
There's
That's a
been
good question.
Yeah, but George W. Bush was president when we had 9/11.
I mean,
but he's
just
not
because
President Trump.
But he wasn't. But no, he was a strong leader. I will
No,
say
he
that.
wasn't.
He was not.
Okay,
He-
MC, help me.
And
they're not wrong.
He was
Okay.
strong. He was.
No.
He stood
know,
by
there
his
was-
convictions.
He was a
He
president.
stood. He stood by a decision that he would make, but he did not stand. He did not lead the way we needed to be led, and he was not. He
yeah, the
did not.
Patriot Act needed to be temporary.
All right.
was-
Well,
he-
it's
no,
not
I
just
agree
it's
with
not
that.
it's not just the
my opinion-
Patriot Act. To be honest, there's the abuses that people talk about go way beyond the Patriot Act, but that's immaterial. The problem with Bush is that
But could
he
you
was
see Al Gore
okay
doing that
when
shit?
he
Come
talked
on.
about. Well, no, he was okay when he talked about. Okay, here's what we need to do. But when it came through, here's how we got to carry things out. Here's how we've got to push things down. Here's how we've got to deal with things. He let them. He took a hands-off approach to it, and too often let people like Colin Powell and let people like
Donald Rumsfeld.
Donald Rumsfeld run certain things that he
Insane.
should have reinforced. All right, to try and prevent a lot of things.
You
So-
assholes are making me fucking defend George W. Bush. God damn
And
it.
see, I always got the opinion that George W. Bush was a president who didn't actually want to be a president.
He did it because he felt like it
His
was
dad
his
told him to.
legacy. It was like a legacy.
No, I think it's
Well,
because his dad told him to.
He wanted to finish what his dad started, and that
I
could
think
very
it- I
well
think-
be.
I think it seemed like he was a president in name only.
Yeah.
No, well, no,
I don't know. I thought he did
he
an
wasn't
okay
a president in name only. But when I talk about leadership, okay, his style, he unfortunately was someone who much preferred, okay, to try and get along, all right, and tamp down things and keep things on some kind of even keel rather than go balls to the wall and put an end to this. A lot of people walked around talking about how, well, he was a cowboy. No, he wasn't a cowboy. All right, he did not take charge of a situation and kick down doors and say, we're going to take some freaking names here. That wasn't that's not who he was.
Hey, you know what? Mattis 2020, okay?
I've talked to people who actually met him, and they say he's one of the kindest, most sincere, gentle people you will meet.
And that could be a major problem of his. But yes. At the same time, you say Mattis. No, I don't want Mattis. Mattis has its own problems, and I'll tell you where his problems are. Mattis is fighting the war, yesterday's war. Okay, I don't want someone who cannot adapt to the current situation.
You're saying he's fighting today's war with yesterday's mindset.
Right.
Yeah, he's fighting the Cold War. He's still fighting the Cold War.
But he's sexy as fuck when he talks.
Yeah, he's a hell of an American, man. He really loves.
He's a great hero, and I give him all sorts of kudos. But he's not the man we need today. He just isn't. I give him full points I give him full marks for what he's done in the service that he gave the nation. All right, but he's not the person we need to lead us into the future. He just isn't.
I think you guys need to elect Stephen Crowder and have Tucker Carlson as his running mate.
Oh, stop. Hey, you know what, MC? It's better than that Beto faggot or whatever.
Okay.
No shit, man.
Yeah,
fake ass motherfucking punk rock.
How about that? Outside. How about that?
I can't argue with that. See, this is what Woolshot does to me. She goes, "There's always someone worse," and she brings it up.
Yeah.
Man, it's like that fucking faggy skateboard shit. I mean,
oh my god,
man.
Oh man, I saw that shit. I'm like, nah, man, nah.
Dude, and the way he does his arms and shit when he talks.
It's total faggot, dude. And
indeed.
The bad faggot, not the good faggot.
High five, man.
High five.
You know, Mattis needs to do the same, like do what fucking McCarthy said and fade away.
Hi, bear dog.
Hey, Shirati.
Hey, Shirati. I'm still drunk while I'm drinking.
Shirati, how come whenever you come stream, my testosterone levels skyrocket?
What?
You just got a new supply of little blue pills.
Oh. Hey, Batman.
Hey.
Hey.
Well, Niagara makes him wet and smelly for 3 hours.
Oh my god.
Sorry, but I have a leak.
But what other Republican candidates are coming out of the woodwork yet besides that Beto faggot?
Don't want
to. He's a Democrat.
He's a Democrat.
No, I thought he was a Republican.
No, Beto is a fucking Republican.
Yeah, he's a Republican. Yeah.
Beto? No, I mean a fucking Democrat. God damn it. I hear one thing and say God
no, then who's the Republican?
Fuck the bear dog. That's your fault.
That just fucking announced. God damn it.
Well,
the one who's trying to think he's gonna.
You talking about Governor Weld?
We really should take a leaf out of Japan's book. You know, unless you're Japanese, it's incredibly or Japanese descent, it's incredibly difficult to become a resident or even a citizen of Japan.
Beto's name is Robert Francis fucking O'Rourke. It's not a goddamn drop of Hispanic blood in that motherfucker's body.
Here we go.
He was a judge's kid who grew up and fucking went to boarding school. Okay, so he's one of those motherfuckers.
Jeb Bush.
He's a Jeb Bush. He's exactly same shit.
Those two are wanting to run in 2020.
No, Jeb Bush
never happened.
Jeb Bush won't.
Fuck Jeb Bush.
Jeb Bush is weak, man. He's just a weak fuck.
Yeah, you want to talk about someone who's weak. Jeb Bush is weak.
Yeah. Now that's
why does everybody have to blow you?
Because I need to be blown. Immediately.
What are you, a fucking balloon?
She's back
I might be. Are you assuming my gender right now?
I am. Do you have a problem with that?
God damn it. I'm not drunk enough for this incessant battle. These are men talking right now.
Oh, shit.
Go make me a sandwich.
I don't want to make you a fucking sandwich. If you want the fucking sandwich, get off your ass and make it yourself.
No.
You a woman too, bitch?
I want a cookie.
Dude.
Well, you're the one who's always saying you're a fucking lesbian.
I am.
Deal with it.
But I got bigger balls than most men fucking around here. That's for goddamn sure. I'm sorry, guys.
You think so?
Sorry, guys.
I think so.
We've got Libyans in the chat.
I don't want a sandwich, right? I want a lap dance.
No, you want to talk about fucking weak ass men, millennials around here, or fucking Z generation, whatever. They make me look like a man, like a fucking like man.
Yeah.
They're pussified Tweety Bird motherfuckers.
If it
Well,
wears
they
a
go-
man bun, it needs to be excised.
They go after their hero, which is Riley.
A lot of these millennial men, they make fucking Marilyn Monroe look like a man.
Mm-hmm.
No, but Mitch, have you seen the new one? They're getting rid of the man bun and going for the he hive.
Oh God,
Oh,
dude!
God.
What?
You fucking
Thank God I have.
Hive.
I don't want
Thank
to
God
know.
I have a machete with limitless ammo.
Thank God I don't. I'm drunk.
I've never heard that term, he hive. There's
my
just
fucking God.
there's
You
just nothing right about that term.
Dude.
There's
Oh,
just
you
nothing right.
reckon that's
Party.
wrong? You got to see the fucking photo.
Party, you gotta fucking
No.
Hold on.
No, don't do it.
Screen share coming.
No, don't.
show it. You gotta show
There you
it.
go.
Show it. Show it.
It'll-
And why cigarette lighters were made.
Oh,
Did you just
Ah.
show something that I posted in
Oh
a
my
server?
Oh,
God.
for fucking out loud.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Hey, check this out. I've got something pretty cool too.
oh yeah.
There you go.
Let's see.
This is the high.
It would have
quality
been better
content
if you
I
sit
signed
up there
for.
and put on frickin' Steve Shy's face in front of that.
No,
No,
no
it's
kidding.
too
You want to
muscular
talk about a
these days.
pussy?
No, Justin Trudeau.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to start a GoFundMe to rescue Steve Shive's beard.
That dude's got a like.
That's another one. That's another one. Steve Shives' beard. Yeah, the only reason why that exists is so you can go.
Well, yeah,
Oh.
it's so the moisture on his lips has somewhere to go.
Look at this guy there, man.
I thought that was
It's
Conway
actually-
Twitty for a second.
Actually, it's not Steve Shives. Steve Shives doesn't have a beard. That's the fungus that's growing around the fucking moisture on his lips.
No. He still needs that. You know, he's got pubes around his face because he's a bit of a cunt face.
I still
What?
think that
Sure.
I think his beard is actually attached to his hat.
Yeah,
I think it's actually a really cunning disguise.
I don't think that's actually a hat.
And
I
that's his name's not Steve Shives. It's oh, what's that? Who is that guy? The fucking guy, the Facebook guy. What's Zuckerberg? Yeah,
Oh, you think it's Mark?
it's
Zuckerberg?
actually
You know-
it's actually Mark Zuckerberg in disguise.
One time I met my sister-in-law.
Mark Zuckerberg is a fucking lizard in human form.
This one time
Yeah.
I
You
met
ever
my
not-
seen this
you're not proving me
Encyclopedia
wrong.
Dramatica on Steve Shives?
Oh,
It's
God,
funny
no.
as shit, man. I'll see if I can hunt it up.
this one time I met my sister-in-law's boyfriend, and he was a colored person, and her parents didn't like that too much. And I looked at him and I'm like, "So, do you hunt? Do you fish?" And he said no. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well," I turned to my sister-in-law. "Well, what's your girlfriend's name?" And yeah, he didn't like me very much after that, and I didn't like him. I told him that I'd drag him around by the back end of my truck if he wanted to get real shitty.
You went all sorts of Rodney King on his ass, huh?
I don't give a fuck. Fuck him. Fuck that shit, man. Like, oh, you think you so gangsta, but you fucking clean in a microwave. What the fuck?
Think of what you do if you woke up one night, your bedroom windows just flew open, the curtains flapping in the breeze, and Steve Shive floated in and just hovered above your bed.
I'll pass. I'll pass on that. That's like Slender Man coming in for a visit. I'll fucking pass.
Call Ghostbusters? I don't know. What are you supposed to do?
Shoot him in the face with my Mossberg. I don't know, dude.
That's right.
We got Castle
Mossy's got to
Doctrine
eat,
here.
man. Mossy
got-
got to eat.
We got Castle Doctrine here. We don't give a fuck.
Just start with comments like nuke him from space. It's the only way to be sure.
Dude,
The only way to
seriously, nuke it from space. The only way to be sure. I want to join Trump's space force so bad. I want to be a roughneck. We go roughnecks.
Hoorah!
Bear Dog the Space Ranger.
Hell yeah, man.
You know, people make fun of that, man, but it's actually some pretty neat shit that they're.
Dude, I would
developing.
do it in a
It's,
heartbeat.
it's cool as fuck. Yeah,
I would do it.
is.
Well, have you seen the fucking toys?
Yes.
Yeah.
What, the Space Force toys?
Yeah. Some of them, yeah.
Well,
Do
see,
they
you
have
know what the
pop-out
problem
lasers
with
and shit?
you know what the problem with Space Force is the name Space Force.
Yeah.
Starship.
sounds-
Well, Starship Troopers was copyrighted, man.
Yeah. Well, it just sounds like they're gonna fly an outer spaceship in space.
Space Force. It's my idea. This is my word. I'm going to use it.
It,
Period.
it sounds-
Damn, that was an awesome fucking
was
feature.
really good.
Mitch, check this out.
Dude, I want it. I want that.
I do too,
What?
man.
Oh, Jesus
That's
Christ.
wicked as shit.
That's fantastic.
Can someone do Donald Trump in the
They-
fucking Starship
They just
Trooper
they
armor?
just need to change the hair to orange. It'd be perfect
It's gonna
because it would be a perfect. It's almost a lookalike.
Dude, I need him in the Starship Trooper armor because that would be
This is like
bad.
Johnny
fuck
Rico.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
fucking
Johnny
Yeah.
I think
Trump.
that can be done.
Johnny
would be-
Trump.
that would be
Be
so
in the
awesome.
You apes
spaceship
want to
and
live forever.
You know
fire
what?
up the space engines
I'm
so they can
probably
shoot
gonna-
the space gun.
I'm
Donald's
probably gonna
Roughnecks.
vote for. I'm gonna vote for Trump this next election. So it's cool.
Oh, hell
that-
yeah.
Why you don't even know what's going to happen? You're declaring who you're going to vote for at this point in time is
Well, see,
it's too far out.
Okay, hold on. MC, who are you gonna vote for?
At this point in time. If I had to vote,
Yeah.
I'd vote for Trump.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
all know.
However,
Get off my nuts.
however, if Trump dies, all right, it'll be Pence, right?
Why would he die? He's got a force field.
He's 70-something years old. The man is an old man.
He's not gonna
He's
die.
immortal.
He's not gonna die.
You know, I'm convinced that Kathy Griffin is so angry at President Trump because he ages so much better than she does.
Dude, Donald Trump is Voldemort. You know why? Because he feeds off of unicorn blood, and that's how he stays alive. Sorry, I'm high as shit. I'm sorry.
I think it'd be
I-
funnier
I-
if it was like the South Park fucking Christopher Reeves episode and he's just eating babies for their stem cells.
I'm seriously, I'm convinced that
God.
Kathy Griffin lures children to her home with candy and tries to dehydrate the youth out of them.
Kathy Griffin looks like a fucking. She
Mm.
looks like a tanned piece of jerky pussy. Like
Jesus.
if you tanned a pussy,
She looks
If you-
Oprah
like
Winfrey.
leather.
Mount Bathory.
like leather pussy.
They used to
She's a sketchy-
bathe in the blood of virgins and shit. Yeah.
Looks like
She-
Mumba's ex-girlfriend.
Elizabeth
She-
Bathory is hot. Sorry.
She looks like someone took Babe Ruth's baseball glove, slapped him in the ass with it, then peeled that imprint off his ass and took the flesh and left it out in the sun to dry for too long, and then used it to do Kathy Griffin's latest face.
Why didn't they
Wait,
arrest
that's
her for what
when
she
she
did?
went-
Why
They
didn't they?
should have.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that treason or something?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's
It was
it's
art, man.
It's
What
not.
are you talking
treason,
about?
and they could charge her, but the reality is that
Charged with a cult of violence.
Yeah.
they could charge her, but she would still only get probably a minimal sentence if anything.
I know it's freedom of expression, what have you, blah blah blah, but like,
I know who
I
Mitch is
don't
going to vote
It
for.
was tasteless as fuck, but it was legal.
But
man.
her
but then again, all those assholes.
Oh, it was a
burning
call to
Obama dolls.
violence.
her problem is going to be with this whole Covington thing because she's been hit with that lawsuit.
I don't agree with anybody burning any president. Like when they did that to Obama, the Obama dolls, they fucking lit him up on the interstate here. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with what Kathy Griffin did. It's
Well,
fucked up.
I hate to say this, man, but they've been doing that. They've been burning freaking American presidents in effigy in the United States,
Forever.
all right, for as long as I can remember.
But it's fucked up. They should.
People were
they
pissed
should
off
fuck
that,
up,
that
man.
Washington got the first,
They've been doing it since America had presidents.
Fucking, they did it to Nick. I know they did it to Nixon.
was
And I,
a
it's not like I
freaking-
agreed
Yeah,
with Nixon.
but
They were going to
Nixon got
tar and
fucked,
feather
man.
freaking
That wasn't an
George
effigy.
Washington. Are you kidding me?
I
There
think
was a group of freaking people that were literally going to take him out and tar and feather George Washington at one
Yes.
point.
You know what? That's why I'm Bill the Butcher, the original American patriot.
Like I keep saying, I
Fuck
know,
all you Irish potato eating fucks.
I know who. I know who Radford
Just call me a potato nigger, man. I'm used to it.
You can't
I'm
say
used to it
nigger on
by
the
now.
show, okay?
I kind of put it in for
Dodge, I know who you're going to vote for.
Who am I gonna vote for?
Anything but Spear Tucker.
Whoa, what?
Mike Wazowski.
Oh. Dude, I voted for Batman last election, to be
Thank
honest.
See, with the next election, the problem anyone's going to run into is I'm convinced President Trump will have a good track record under his belt, and
See,
it's
what
going
you
to be hard to fight that.
Well,
What you
yeah,
guys did-
Well, how many people are going to know about it though?
I definitely think that Trump's gonna get 2020, in my opinion, especially like now.
It's the economy. It's stupid.
Like-
What
Like
you
they
lot have got to
said.
do, just as a joke, is to put on a ballot paper as an independent Chief Palpatine, just to see how many votes he gets.
All right, it's the Chief Palpatine. That's right. The Emperor.
Soros will be loving this idea.
Actually, just to check, go into a blue state and put on as a Democratic nominee Bubbles the monkey.
Bubbles the
Dude, I'm
monkey.
gonna vote for Donald Trump because I snatch these pussies up like I'm Donald Trump. I'm just saying. Just
You
fucking.
grab him, huh?
Oh
Talking
hell
of-
yeah, snatch him up, baby.
Talking about Bubbles the monkey, what song, when sung to Michael Jackson's Monkey, really makes his monkey worried? I am blowing bubbles.
Oh shit. Hey Ace, what's going on, man?
Oh, not shit. Just chilling like a villain.
What's up, dude?
Dude, I was detained by the police for 45 minutes. It was great.
Okay. Who the fuck did you slap the shit out of now?
Some drunk dude thought I was a boy and wanted to fight, and he missed, and I connected with his face.
Dude,
I like how he immediately goes to the fact, who the hell did you beat?
Dude, my
I was
knuckles,
right.
Kind of obvious,
my
man.
knuckles hurt so fucking bad right now.
The fucked up thing is, I was
He's not
right.
wrong either.
Yep.
Who the hell did you hit? Okay. whose ass did you get?
I just wanted him to stop leaning on me because he was a drunk piece of shit. I'm like, can you get off me, dude?
Basically, you started with a 2-year-old. Did you stop touching
What the hell?
Whoa.
Who the fuck is playing that loud ass music?
Better stop that.
Kill it with fire.
Kill the fucking
Stop
music
that.
before Dodge's channel gets shut off.
Yeah, that's the copyright music, Irene.
What are you doing?
There we go.
I don't think
I don't
I'm
even-
Kill the fucking music.
Is that Hotel California?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
It should be off.
Well, now it is. It wasn't before. I mean, we can hear the whole start of it.
But yeah, I was detained by the cops, and
I hate that song.
God,
I had a
damn
good
it!
day. I had a good day.
My breaker flipped. My breaker flipped, so I have to go handle some shit for a second. And I come back, and you're trying to get me fucking copyright stuff.
Dude, Mad Dog. I said the N word, and I didn't even realize we were live. We're already fucked. I'm sorry.
Get back, JoJo. There's something screwy around here.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Bum bum.
No, I swear to God, if those kids on that fucking heater in the back room again turn off my fucking breaker, I'm gonna flip out.
Hey, Mad Dog.
2 days in a row, these kids
Are you sure
like,
that they're turning the breaker off, or are they just doing something that's creating too much
they're
current?
turning on this stupid heater that I told them to leave the
Yeah,
fuck alone,
I
and it
knew
keeps
it.
popping my breaker, and I'm gonna pop an ass. Like, God damn it!
If you have a heater that's popping a breaker, you might want to have that heater checked out because it's drawing too much current.
Or
I
an
know
old
blood
house, dude.
from the suicide bomber school.
Where's the kaboom?
Hey,
Somebody's got a new play deck to play with.
Mad Dog, what are you doing for St. Patrick's Day or whatever? Besides getting drunk.
Drinking Rolling Rock and not Dolphin. I don't know where that's.
Excuse me, I'm sick.
I know something else he's doing.
Hell yeah!
That's a nice sound
Who
to
the fuck
hear.
has the soundboard here, there, Crowder?
Irate.
There's a
Like, knock it off.
Dude, that's what I'm doing like later tonight. I'm going 4-reeling. It's gonna be great.
I rode into town on an ass. Yo mama's ass.
Oh,
That wasn't me.
Excuse me, I'm sick.
So, for lack of a better term, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Don't get
is
your
Sarah
panties
really
all in a
dead?
bunch.
Like, did she really die, Irate? Like, is Sarah gone?
Dude,
Yeah.
Pinoid messaged me and was like, "Here's her obituary."
Yeah.
Wait,
It's
what?
for real. It's for
Yeah,
real.
no, for real. It's
What
for
happened to
real.
her?
Remember when she said that she had been in a car wreck?
And
Right.
everybody laughed at her and called her
Well,
full of shit. Yeah, I remember.
Well, she had internal injuries from that wreck that ended up. She died on the February 28th.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Now I feel bad
Right?
calling her dog nose nipples. I'm sorry, Sarah. Forgive me.
That's
Did you say
Hey,
dog nose nipples?
She
Yeah,
said
that's exactly what you said.
Okay, so
She went up
Trippy-
a way to make people like dislike her.
Trippy
it-
got
Shit,
her.
man, I wouldn't wish death on anybody. You know. No
Yeah,
doubt.
neither do I, dude. Trippy got a hold of her tit pics because she would like to show them, and I, unfortunately, and they look like her nipples look like dog noses. So forever, when she would come on stream, I'd be like, "Hey, look, it's dog nose nipples."
Damn.
And
Well, look at that. You can
now-
see my dick from here.
now I feel really bad about that. God damn. I can see your doodle.
Yeah, it makes me feel kind of shitty, right?
Now I
Like,
gotta-
aw.
So she got into a car wreck, but
And
she
got
was conscious
complicated.
enough to tell people about it. She texted people or something about
Yeah,
it.
no, she had been in a car wreck, right? And then the next day she was in the back seat and been thrown through the windshield, right?
Oh my
And
god.
the next day she's on Discord saying, "Man, this happened to me y'all yesterday. Y'all, I'm fine. It's like it's a miracle I'm still alive." Blah blah blah. And who who? I mean, shit. She went to the hospital.
Dude,
They had to have X-rayed her and shit.
dude.
That's the fuck.
Whoa.
That is
That's
fucking-
she was my age,
33
right?
years old. 33.
This is why seatbelts save lives.
Yep.
Gordon's alive.
That's a pretty severe
That's-
wreck if she went through if she was in
That's
the
what
back
she
seat, she
said.
went through a windshield.
Yeah.
Dude, someone irate, post the obituary.
Yeah, well.
Put it
There's
live.
there's gonna have to be a post-mortem to find out why she actually passed away, because
Yeah.
if she was still alive to the point where she was texting and everything, obviously something had to have happened because she was probably still in the hospital, right?
No.
You want to pull this up?
It could have been something like a fucking brain bleed that they
Yeah,
didn't catch.
yeah.
Or an
brain
infection.
hemorrhaging.
It could have been a fucking staph infection.
It could have been something that happened. Broken ribs.
Hey,
after
Mad Dog, can you
treatment.
present irate, please?
Right. Technically, this is not doxing because she's no longer
She
with
did.
us. She's dead. So, but
So-
this is her.
She is DED dead.
Hey, Mitch.
Yes.
You know if you ever get
Unexpectedly,
you know if you ever get
complications to stay into a car accident.
Man, that sucks. I'm gonna have to send like flowers or some shit.
She was in the process of moving to Australia.
Yeah.
Why in the
Which
hell
could
was
be
she
with the
doing
love
that?
of her life.
She wanted to be with Farty, okay?
That explains the gunman.
Don't judge her don't judge her choices.
There is a
Oh,
God.
shit. Sorry,
She
y'all.
skated.
Okay.
She skated across the country.
Well, you know what? That really fucking sucks, man. It really does.
Yeah.
No, like
And that was
too
probably
young.
shitty medical care right there.
That's
if,
too
imagine-
young.
Mitch, if you ever had the displeasure to be felt up by Leslie Jones, you know what to tell her, don't you?
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape.
You're all heart, Batman.
Yes.
You should write greeting cards.
It's a small, twisted, black, shriveled thing.
I thought you were talking about your dick for a second.
Yeah, irate. What about
That's it.
Steve Shives there, man? You got a man
Oh, God.
No, yeah, look, check this shit out.
Oh God.
Whoa.
Wait, you want to save his beard too?
I want to know who wrote that obit, because like that's a pretty fucking
That's from
widely.
Encyclopedia Dramatica.
Okay.
And probably a parent. Yeah,
Encyclopedia Dramatica wrote her obituary. Great.
No,
Yeah.
no. I think it was probably her parent.
I
Her
think
mom.
he was talking Steve Shives. The Steve
I was
Shives.
kidding. I was kidding.
Yes, Dodge, I
she
do
knows.
have something for Steve Shives.
Well, excuse me, princess.
I'm
Okay,
sorry, I'm a soy-filled
louder.
bitch and playing a
Get it
video.
There you go. soy-filled bitch.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm a soy-filled bitch in Flag Your Videos.
I swear to God, he gets pegged by his wife nightly.
Probably. Dude, you know who gets pegged by his wife daily? Destiny. I thought that motherfucker was gay. I'm like, don't you have a swing set to sniff, you fucking pedophile?
No. I think Steve Shives is a fluffer for his wife's boyfriend.
Wait, he's got a wife? He's married? For real?
Yeah.
Isn't he a little old to be a gentleman's fluffer?
You haven't seen the classic response when he says that he thought Buffy was better than Angel as a series.
The best description for Steve
That is so
Shives
funny.
is that he's his wife's loofah mitt.
His wife is female for the moment till she transitions.
Oh,
No, I found out the other day.
I
it's
thought
a
it was
relationship,
human.
I mean, hey man,
Like, is he,
there's
in the process
it's
of
never
getting
too.
divorced?
I mean, it's never too late to get into your passion of being a fluffer.
Before I saw that video with him talking to
Steve
his wife,
Shives is in the process of getting a divorce.
I guess he just can't do
Yeah,
it professionally. at
That's
his
what
age.
I heard the other day, MC. Yeah, Steve Shives, the bitch left him finally. So she can't even put up with his ass.
she's probably gay. She's probably gay now.
Before I saw that video of Steve Shives and his wife, I saw her on another video. Gandalf told her she could not pass.
Oh,
Have you ever seen that little movie he made?
I actually saw a clip or something from that.
Yeah, it's oh my god, it's terrible. But
can we talk about the John Wayne article though?
You want to talk about which John Wayne article?
From 1972?
Yeah, from Playboy. That was a great article.
Okay.
I laughed my ass off.
It was 1972. I actually remember when that article came out.
Yeah.
MC has it on his wall in a frame.
I do not have it. I do not have it on a wall in my frame. Right.
Well, I tell you, I like
he's
a
got
good
it.
Negro
He's got
that
it blown
knows
up
his
to the
place
size
now.
of a body pillow.
I won't say it's not a body pillow, but I do not.
and I got to tell you
MC.
that one
There
mark,
is a hole in it,
that's not an exclamation point.
No, but I do remember that article.
I'm so fucking drunk.
There was.
I thought you were stoned.
Well, I'm on painkillers, and I was at the store trying to get my Steel Reserve because Mad Dog turned me on to Steel Reserve and my dip, and got into an altercation, and I finally got my Steel Reserve, so I'm feeling pretty right now.
Excuse me, sir. Would you like a bacon sandwich?
Oh.
What do you dip, Bear
My
Dog?
husband's home. I'm getting out of here, bitches. Bye.
What do I dip? I dip a Copenhagen long cut.
No, is it bad? She said she feels pretty, and immediately I think about anger management. I feel pretty.
I feel pretty and witty and bright.
Now all I've got in my head is an image of Dodge dancing around singing that.
Oh, shit. No. I said over easy, motherfucker.
Now, Steve and his wife are getting a divorce. Who's doing the dance of joy in that scenario?
His wife is now gay. She's
Her
gay.
boyfriend.
She's back for our team now. I'll put money on that.
Do you know why they're getting a divorce? It's because
Yeah, can I ask a question? Why does anybody care?
They fell in love with the same man.
I mean, that's true, MC. Why does anyone care?
kept telling Mrs. Shives that the little midget in the corner watching them was creeping him out.
Oh, you mean the teddy bear?
No.
That was a disguise too. Oh my god.
Yeah, well,
Steve Shives, the CIA, confirmed.
Fucking
I did one episode. I did one episode where I took a Steve and Stuffy show, right?
Yeah,
and
that's the other thing.
I edited it. And I made my own fucking commentary. It was great.
Steve Shives had
but
a
I
puppet
couldn't
show.
be bothered to do it a second time. Sorry, I can't sit through that, people.
I
will not torture myself.
Steve Shives was a grown man who did a puppet show.
Oh,
and,
come
and
on.
it was
Steve
supposed to be an adult puppet show
What? And then Lindsay from Queer Kid Stuff shows up.
Save Teddy. Save Teddy. Oh my
Save
god.
the teddy beard.
What I want to know is why is that bear wearing a Fallout jumpsuit?
All these gay people making real gay people look fucking retarded. Make it stop. Make
Well,
it
yeah, it's
fucking
almost like they're wearing gay like a fashion statement, isn't it?
Well,
Pretty
no,
much.
and like since we're being pricks on the internet, which I'm good with that. So Prince of Queens put out a video a couple days ago. He's like, "So I've been working on this shit for a year and a half, and it's
No one cares.
really important. So I hope that you share it everywhere." I watched the 15-minute video. Right?
I'm
it's
sorry.
a gay ass cartoon that's like, okay, I like Clerks. You know, I like the
Well,
banter.
hell yeah, I
but
love Clerks.
that was the angle he was going for, and it didn't fucking work.
Well,
all right,
because it's
Like-
Prince of Queens. He needs
It
to
was a
shut his
slice of
fucking
life
mouth.
thing. Yeah,
you got a problem with him, don't you?
it was a
Dude,
huge virtue signal, man.
One time I was supposed to be on a stream because, you know, I'm kind of more conservative, gay, blah, whatever. Then I didn't show up because I got drunk and I didn't care. So I got on another stream and he was on there and he's like, "You missed my show. Well, next time you won't be invited on." And I'm like, "Honey, I don't give a fuck.
Oh shit! Snap!
I don't give a fuck about you or your goddamn show." So
yeah, fuck you
Oh.
too, Susie.
yeah, it's like, fuck you, you fucking queer ass bitch. I
You
curb
could
stomped
fill,
him.
you could fill a thimble and have room to spare with all the shits I give.
Dude, he's the kind of gay I'd curb stomp for real.
Shot's going full American history act on this.
Hell yeah, I am.
You hear that
Okay.
deafening silence out there? That's the sound of me giving a fuck.
Ugh,
Say curb stomp again, Outlaw Bear Dog.
curb stomp.
But
Damn.
James von Maxwell wants to know who you are in the chat.
Who? What?
James
von
Maxwell wants to know. James has been on streams with her before.
Yeah.
He wants to know who Mad Dodge
You
is.
know,
Dude,
Come on
hamster,
now.
you know
I
who
think
I
he's
am.
talking
Dude.
about you, Mad Dodge.
You know who I am, man.
Bear Dog is the most fucking dude-tastic lesbian you'll ever meet.
Dude-tastic?
I'm basic fuck.
Dude-tastic.
I'm
Dude,
wearing
plastic.
overalls and fucking my big old boots right now. I'm so fucking country. It's crazy.
Dude-tastic sounds like she wipes her hand or wipes her ass unprotected.
No, I don't do that.
No, I didn't say she's a Muslim. I said
The sad part is he's not joking.
Hey, Shot, take off that hijab. God damn it.
Oh yeah.
That's why if you
Yeah,
try to shake a Muslim's hand with your left hand, they get really freaking irate.
I always try to do that.
It's a true story.
Yeah, they call dirty left-handers because of it.
Those people are lunatics in that desert. They really freaking are. 'Cause
Can you
the heat has
fucking
fried
in
half
a-
of their brains.
Can you see me in a fucking beekeeper outfit? Come on, guys. I can't dip in that shit. I
Hey,
can't
keep
shoot
your
a
bee
back
to
in
yourself.
that.
Hey, Shot. Only if the beekeeper outfit's a Confederate flag. All right.
Hell yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat. In a fucking heartbeat.
I still want to see Star Gunavacod run for prime minister.
oh god,
Oh god.
I could just see Bear Dog remixing like the call to prayer.
The one
with
thing
fucking
I will
shotguns
say
in the
about this, if
background.
Sargon of Akkad was ever that man cannot take criticism at all.
That dude is such
He
a
would flip the hell out. You would
That'd be
have to
half the
get your
fun.
popcorn ready because any abuse that he would get, he would just go friggin' ape shit. I mean,
He's a bigger
stack-
pussy than Theresa May, man.
Just stack the press corps with people who can't say Sargon of Akkad. You got one who says Sargon of Akkad. You got another one that says Sargon of Akkad, and just have everyone mispronounce it and fuck it up.
Zark one of a card.
A kid? No, seriously, no. Sargon of
What's that guy? Tarquin of Akkad? What?
No. You
Tarkin of
got to-
Akkad.
It's tagging of awkward.
Hey hamster, I don't hate anybody. I hate everybody equally.
Where did you get the name Awkward with a Dog?
What?
I still to this day listen to Sargon. In fact, I've got to do I'm going to have to do a
Oh, I
response
enjoy
video
his
to One
content.
of his latest
Vagina of a cod. Fuck that.
I
dude.
enjoy his content, but
No,
you're right.
no, I like that. I don't know who said it, but awkward with a dog. That's awesome. That
Awkward with a dog.
Wasn't there some like crazy shit that came out about his wife fucking catching him looking at like a bunch of trap
Oh, that he
porn
likes
and whatnot?
traps? Yeah, dude, he's totally into traps.
Yeah,
Someone's going to say it, aren't they?
What?
Someone has to say it. You all know.
It's a trap.
No, not that one.
What?
Batman will probably be the first to say it.
Batman will say it. He'll say anything.
He'll say
But-
anything for a Klondike
See,
bar.
now if I say it, it loses all the impact when someone else says it.
Well, no,
Since we're
no,
talking about traps.
See, like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't be with the chick with a bigger dick than I have. All right?
I may have painted myself into a corner.
That doesn't work.
Damn, Mad Dog. I mean, 4 inches.
I being very limited in your options and done it.
Oh, hey, stop talking to my wife, Wolfshot.
See, that's a man with a sense of humor.
Now you see that there, lady? She's got a clitoris that'll put your eye out.
We're not talking to you. I'd be talking to your doctor.
Ah, fuck me, man.
What was it? Schrodinger's clitoris? What? No. Oh no, it's a Schrodinger's cat. I was reading the cat. I'm sorry. I got my
Schrodinger's
consonants.
clitoris is always in the box.
My consonants got a little muddled. Physics humor. It's terrible.
Someone just take a piss.
Yeah, see, I'm not opposed to self-deprecating humor. I'm all right with it. Whatever.
Hey, Mad Dodge, a quick rendition of your favourite team.
Hey, you know
Well,
what?
that's just what I call foreplay.
Is that the Red Sox theme?
Yep.
He wishes that was the Red Sox team. It's actually the Dodgers theme.
Dude, no, man, you're a Diamondbacks fan. Shut the fuck up already. Like,
Always.
nobody asked you.
I thought that was the
Always.
fucking Cubs theme.
And for the
Always
longest
hard
time,
on
it
a
was,
first
yeah.
date.
Yes, coming on to the stand is the Dodgers pitcher.
Ancient spirits of evil.
Come on.
This decay from
Hey, you know what? No, fuck that. No, now I'm gonna get real. Say what you
Now
want.
I'm
about
gonna
the
get real.
Dodgers pitching. Yeah, say what you want about the Dodgers pitching staff, but Clayton Kershaw is the best pitcher in the MLB, and fight me, motherfucker.
Yeah,
Like,
what's
prove
his
me
ERA
wrong.
in the playoffs? 12 point what?
No, it's
Wait.
it's
This is the
3.50.
plot of your gay porn? I don't understand what's happening now. I think I got lost.
Swing and a miss, sir. Swing and a miss.
Yes, that's the Dodgers motto.
Play
Isn't it?
baseball, Dodge.
You're outnumbered. You're outgunned.
You're
it's, like,
outclassed.
it's like beating the baby puppy.
Y'all are a bunch of haters. You know what I'm saying?
It's like taking candy from a comatose baby.
Oh, let's see. Here's the baby seal. Pound, pound, pound.
No. Batman, what the fuck is cricket, dude? Like, who gives a fuck about
I
cricket?
don't give a fuck
Like,
about cricket. You can insult it all you want. I'll even help you.
What are you into rugby, man?
Rugby's not bad. I mean, rugby's basically
I love rugby, man.
not played by sissy boys.
Oh, don't
Rugby's
get
an
me started on
adult game
American
of,
football.
you want to know what rugby
I call it
is?
man ball.
Rugby is simply an adult game of smear the queer.
No,
That's really what it is.
The basic thing is rugby
with
is a
the
game played
know-how.
by men with oddly shaped balls.
No, it's
American
it's
football players are pussies.
It's a game. It's a
Exactly.
game. A man's game of smear the queer. That's all it is. You throw the ball around. You run around till you get tackled. You throw the ball around again. You run around till you get tackled.
Why are we talking about Prince of Queens again?
Hey, you know,
I just wanna-
hockey is a game. You skate on knives, and someone usually bleeds. I mean, come on.
When I was at school, we used to play a game called Murder Ball. Americans going about dodgeball. It's worse. Murder Ball's worse than that because You got 2 goals, right? And you get 2 teams of equal size, and you play it with a medicine ball. The object of the game is to score
Oh
as
my
many
god,
goals
ow.
in the other guy's goal as you can. The rules are whoever's got the ball is fair game. That's it.
Yeah, we've got another term for it out here. It's called kill the deal with a pill.
That too. Usually, what you do when you got the ball is there's usually somebody on the other team that you don't like, so you pass the ball to them. Then everybody kicks the living shit out of them.
Yep.
You know what we do?
Your
We
little
chase
brother.
each other with fucking Roman candles. That's what we fucking
That's
do.
right.
that was a popular pastime. You are right.
Like no shit. I remember taking like we bought this whole box, right? There's like 50 fucking bottle rockets in it, pretty much, right? And we stand about 20 feet away, and we each have a box of like 100 bottle rockets, and we light them and aim at each other. Yeah,
Yeah,
because we're fucking brilliant.
But bottle rockets are kind of gay. You got to
Bottle
get the
rocket
Roman
balls.
candles.
Yeah, exactly. You end up, escalating the belligerent nature of the engagement.
But
You gotta-
that's,
you
that's
gotta
the problem.
Joe
That's the
Dirt that
problem
shit.
with Americans is Americans have this inbred need to actually shoot somebody. Okay, we haven't shot anybody in a while. We start to get antsy.
That's
No,
right.
no, no. That happens in the rest of the world. We're just
I
more
love
civilized.
my country.
Do you know what
American
We're
football
just
needs
more
to be defeminized.
civilized. We're just more civilized.
Do you know what I do for shits and giggles? I get dressed up as a piece of bacon and go running through a Muslim neighborhood.
I
Where's
go
the threat?
outside.
Hold on. There's no challenge in that. No one will touch you.
I go outside with my 22 and pop some squirrels. That's what I do for fun.
You like popping squirrels, do you?
Yeah.
So does Mad Dodge, but he doesn't use a gun.
That sounds like a euphemism for some kind of drug use.
Nah.
I'm
Come on back in my house, man. We're gonna pop some squirrels.
Hey man, squirrels are tasty.
But
Tell it-
American
Tell
football
it to
does need to be
4chan, and I guarantee
defeminized.
it'll
Yeah,
be a freaking slang in about
basically
15
what I'm
minutes.
saying is Mad Dodge goes out in the woods with some duct tape looking for squirrels.
No, you know what Mad Dodge does? He sends his kids out looking for fucking mountain lions.
I mean,
That's-
Dude, and they still haven't found this bastard. It went
Yeah.
and ate somebody in Springfield. No, it doesn't eat the children. No, not at all. Fucking hell, are they taming this fucker?
But send your kids out to go play, okay, dude?
I mean, if you
That's why
really
you
want,
got 12 of them.
if you really want to have some fun, just go to the synagogue, dress as Hitler, have a sign say nothing. Hey, you did nothing wrong. Like,
I
Well,
mean,
at this point, Ace, do you even have to dress like Hitler, or do you just show up white?
no.
motherfucker's got a point, dude.
If you went to the synagogue dressed as Hitler, then shouted in a loud voice, "Can anybody help me clear my ashtrays out?"
Stands
You
there
ever
with a gas
wonder
cylinder.
if
Go,
someone-
anyone got any gas?
Bingo.
Anybody got a light?
That's when you just show up at the fucking
Can I use the showers?
at the fucking corner store down in the middle of the fucking ghetto. Being white, and you just go, "My privilege is better than yours, nigger." What?
No.
What? Am I headed up to
That's
Portland
situation.
right now?
The best thing
All right,
do
let me jump in the car. I'm headed up to
Dude,
Portland.
you'll
I'm
end up
gonna
getting
go
shot
quick.
like me. Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't do that. You'll get shot like me. Don't do it. It hurts a lot.
I want to go on a
Wait,
safari
you
and
think you'll
pester
get
the
some
big cat with
faggots
a
have
laser
guns?
pointer.
Come on, man.
Well, you don't have to do that. You just have to watch these idiots around here in Arizona sit up there and try and take selfies with the Jaguar and wonder why it attacked.
Oh shit! I saw that. I saw that shit. And she's like, "Oh my god, my arm!" And I'm like, "You
You're
deserve
lucky.
everything about that."
I just thought of a fun trick to play on Kathy Grissom.
God, that is an argument for retroactive abortion.
MC, I'm just glad that they're not putting down the animal. That's
No,
what
they
I'm glad
definitely
about.
shouldn't be putting down the animal. Well, they should put down the animal.
Which one?
But yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
It's her that needs to be
her
put
bitch ass
down.
down.
God,
not
what
want
a
to
breed.
Well, you know what?
That
I'm
was
thinking?
one of the
Just-
times. That was one of the times that the response time was way too fast to rescue her. They should have just let her
Fucking
go.
A. Thank
No.
you. Thank you.
No, this bitch is just lucky it wasn't the Nazi Penguins, right? Because they wouldn't have hit her.
Yeah, and that-
They wouldn't raped her ass.
In that situation, I want to see some first responders show up, stand there, cross his arms, and say, "Now, what have we learned here today?" Before rendering
Ladies
any
and
aid.
gentlemen, get your cell phones out. We need video filming of this. All right.
Dude.
Yeah, she's on the other side of the cage. We're going to help her out to make sure she gets a real good selfie. We're throwing her to the other side. Here we go.
I would
Better
totally
yet, one
do
of the
that.
zookeepers who gives the tour and the speech slides in from the side with the microphone and says, "And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a live example of natural selection."
Fucking retard, man.
Hey, if you don't want to get raped by a dolphin, don't jump into the tank at SeaWorld, bitch. Like, knock it off.
But then
Oh
swim
my
off the coast
God,
of
you've
France.
got dolphin privilege.
Oh shit! Not dolphin privilege.
Trigglypuff did that once.
You bottlenose fucker.
I Trigglypuff jumped into the dolphin tank at SeaWorld. Yeah, the poor dolphins died of fucking dehydration.
But you sure the greenies didn't roll her in thinking that she escaped?
Dolphins fantasize about punching
She
feminists.
probably tried to fucking eat it.
She plugged it up.
Large.
Fucking goddamn, dude.
I've already had all the semen from the land-based animals. I need to go underwater.
Stop it.
Get this big fish in my belly.
Stop it.
Get this big fish in my belly. Get this big fish in.
Get your diet books off this campus.
Oh my God! Stop it.
Where's my towel? I need to wipe my brow.
There's
Better
the
bring
thing
a
with,
towel.
there's the thing with Trigglypuff, isn't she in that new up-and-coming film? You know, King Kong versus Godzilla.
No, she was in Rampage.
She
It's already
might
come
be
out.
in,
She was in Rampage.
Joe Rogan meets the Bigfoot.
I mean, can we be honest? We do
I
have
want
an
to see this movie.
Can we be honest? We do have an epidemic of fucking land whales around here that we need to do something about.
Yeah, dude. we
Yes,
do.
tell the Japanese.
We need them. We need them because when they die, we can harvest their fat for biofuel.
Dolphins.
Or
and
so.
whales.
Yeah,
Do
we'll
some
just get them to
Fight Club
join them.
type shit.
Just get them all to
Get so.
join the military and just fucking use them as mobile barricades.
You know,
The problem with that is, like, we would have to actually move them. Like, their fat asses ain't gonna walk that far.
Wait,
So-
wait,
you
a
get-
minute. No, wait a minute.
now
Is
look,
this
all you need is a
operation-
chainsaw, a wood chipper, and a bin.
No. Is this South Park Operation Get Behind Darky? What the fuck?
all you need is a pair of roller skates and a tool roll.
Yeah, that's what. Well, Operation Get Behind Darky is when a riot's going on, and you just hide behind the black people.
Dude, if you want to do it right, just feed them to a bunch of pigs, and then the pigs will fart out the methane, and we can collect that.
Yeah, the
No,
next time Black
that-
Lives
that-
Matter or whatnot. You know, the next time Black
That
Lives Matter
propagates
march
global
down the street,
warming,
demonstrate. You know what they want to do? They want to open the lion enclosure at the local zoo, and just herd them bastards.
You don't need to open the line and close. What they should be doing is simple things like when all the kids are crying about global warming, it's just say, "Oh, we got this nice, cute little polar bear. Want to give them a hug and let the kids go in."
No, see, because even the hungry polar bear and lions and all the hungry wild creatures would take one sniff of them and be like, "Oh no, too much high fructose corn syrup."
No, too much soy in this
Soy.
one.
Too much
Meth bear.
soy.
Too much meth bear. Too much meth. This one's on meth.
Wait, are we talking about Liz Reptile's fucking trailer park?
Oh,
No?
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Moving on.
That bitch got 2 buttholes. I can't.
I don't want to know. I know.
She got 2 buttholes.
3 if you're counting.
I shall return.
Make of that what you will.
Damn it.
I
No,
don't-
and I'm
I
just
do not wanna
throwing
know.
pot shots at like 3 or 4 different YouTubers tonight. I don't know. It's the Rolling Rock, guys.
Hey, you know what? If you can't laugh at yourself, fuck off.
Yeah, for real. I laugh at myself all the fucking time.
I laugh at myself, but mainly when I'm naked.
Well, no, we'll shot. Like you're
I don't laugh at myself
right?
when I'm
shoot
naked. I kinda
yourself,
cry.
with your own gun. No, I'm kidding.
Do
No,
what
the
now?
crying, I'm only crying if I'm naked and drinking. That's why I don't drink.
Do you sleep in the nude? Only when I'm naked.
No,
Apparently,
I
According-
sleep in a beach ball.
Just sitting there watching Pornhub, just sobbing.
Okay,
I like to
don't know-
really confuse the locals and ride naked on a moped.
Okay, I don't know the validity of this, but apparently Mr. Sloth in Discord has posted a thing saying Discord is removing servers who post images or videos or anything along the lines of the shooter. I'm gathering that's what's happening in New Zealand. So we're off the air, boys and girls, I guess.
Actually, I
why
have not
would they be
shown
doing
any
that?
pictures of the shooter. I have not shown his manifesto. I have not even said his name.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that people need to see that manifesto. I think people need to see it to understand what these people are like and what their intent is and who these people are. I think that the media is doing a huge disservice to the public by not posting that thing.
They don't want people to see it because it would destroy their narrative. That's all it is.
I understand that. All right,
Both media and governments who are trying to block that stuff.
And that's the problem. It's not a matter of giving this guy any credit. It's not a matter of doing
Why
this.
hasn't
It's like,
Donald Trump said anything about it though?
he has.
He said, "I give my warmest condolences."
Well,
What do you want him to say?
What else is
You want the Marines to
wait a
invade?
minute.
I mean,
Wolfshot though. No, real quick.
I mean, they do
Wolfie,
have oil. So
why exactly is the president of the United States supposed to comment on a shooting in another country? Why is that our business to begin with?
well, because Muslims are our business, aren't they? Aren't they?
Only when we're carpet bombing them.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I was expecting more from him. Like, hey, we're not going to take your fucking bullshit, you faggot.
After Obama, after Obama, it'd be a bit hypocritical to say, "Oi, you stop murdering all these Muslims. It's not wrong. It's not right. You know, stop doing it." It's like, excuse me, what do you guys do with all those drones?
I mean,
hypocrite.
MC and I can.
No shit.
We agree on that shit, you know. Right, MC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My view of the drone program. Well, to be honest, the problem with the droning program was they took it out of the hands of the military, and that was a huge mistake.
They didn't drone enough. How about that?
You took it out of the hand of the military, and what happened is you end up with groups of people and certain individuals that decide that they want to be the ones doing the targeting, and so they don't understand why they're targeting. They just basically pick people that they don't like for whatever reason, and they say that this is the person they're going to target. They do not. It's not in the military where the military says, okay, the goal is to take out very selected targets in a certain area. All right, in a military operation to gain a military advantage. We're not getting any kind of military advantage when you hand that shit over to the intel community and have a certain group of people that are gathered around and then making the decisions of who's the target and who isn't. It's just nonsense.
Right, the threat assessment level is not there.
Exactly.
What they basically do is, okay, so you're a part of fucking Al-Shabaab or fucking Al-Qaeda in Iraq or something like that. Well, you're just affiliated with them, we'll blow you the fuck up. Like, they don't have that hierarchy of what's the better high-value target that we could take out to really damage their infrastructure or something like that. They're not looking at that aspect.
No, they're looking at it from they got a civilian mindset, and they approach it with a civilian mindset, and it's just ignorant. It just is ignorant.
Yes.
I was watching that, and I was just like shaking my head, going, "This is a massive mistake." But it's like, what can you do about it? I mean, we have to obey the legal orders above us. I was infuriated about that stuff. I really was. All right, I'm not one of these people who cares a whole lot about. I'll be honest with you, quote unquote collateral damage. All right, because when you're
monster.
Okay, well, I'm a monster. All right, you do not let the enemy hide behind civilians as an excuse. All right. No. That being said, you go out. You need to take a look at, okay, what's our reasoning for doing this? All right. If you're running a military operation, you run a military operation. But when you're dealing with the way they're doing with it, they're not even considering it. That's not even a consideration.
Well, and I completely understand where you're coming from, given your background and my background with the military. Like, yeah, it pissed me the fuck off too, because you don't take all those little extra fucking steps of consideration into it.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm sorry. I probably pontificated a little too much. I'll step down from my soapbox now.
Oh no! If you want, I can knock you down a peg.
Go ahead.
I can't wait to see that happen.
Oh no! It's one of the issues I have with these people who bounce around saying thank you for your service. They don't think it through. And I'm talking about the civilians. I know that the military says it to each other in the as sort of a middle finger.
Okay, well, no. Here's my question, because there's only been one time where I actually said that to somebody, and he was in his gear at the hotel I was staying in up in Portland, and I walked up and said, "Hey, man, thank you for your service," and I shook his hand, and he looked generally pleased and kind of shocked, like nobody had done that before. Was that a bad move on my part, in your opinion? Not necessarily.
Understand. It's when President Bush got up in front of his microphone. Think of that. I immediately railed at that because I actually think that puts an unfair expectation upon our veterans.
No, I don't think so. I didn't take it that way.
I don't.
Instead of saying thank you for your service, a better way to say it is thank you for what you have sacrificed.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because
I appreciate your sacrifice. That does go a little bit.
He generally looked me in the eye and shook my hand and looked surprised. And it didn't seem like I overstepped my bounds.
I don't think you were overstepping your bounds.
Were you wearing a man bun?
No, hey, to be honest, dude, I was at the hotel in Portland because my son was having surgery and shit. So I was already kind of in a worried mood. And then I saw a guy in his gear getting ready to ship out, in the hotel lobby. And I walked up to him and shook his hand. And I've never done that before.
But at the same time, you have to also recognize there's different levels of veterans. So people who apparently think that I'm owed something, or people that I don't give a fuck. It was a part of my fucking service. It's whatever. And so to me, if somebody goes, oh yeah, thank you for your service. You're welcome. Thank you for your support. I don't know what to do with my fucking hands. I'm Ricky Bobby here.
Now, see, the part where I think it puts an undue expectation upon members of the military is, and maybe it's just because I think some things through a different way.
Welcome to life.
Yeah. Well, I understand that the military takes an oath. I understand that the group called Oath Keepers takes that oath seriously. Maybe more seriously than people who are not Oath Keepers. I don't mean who joined the club. I mean just in general. I know that part of the oath is to uphold and defend the U.S. Constitution against all threats, foreign and domestic. And if we start putting this undue expectation on the military, how long before someone decides, hey, you're in the military, you took an oath to defend the U.S. Constitution against a domestic threat, go do something about Congress. That puts the military personnel in a very weird position.
Well, but you got to understand. Before you go any further, the military itself still to this day believes that the Constitution is something more than just a sheet of paper. In order for that to become a threat, that has to go away. Now, I will admit, that there's been a lot of damage from a psychic point of view, all right, toward that very thing from happening, but they're not there yet. What could cause an issue, though, what could cause a rift, is if a president gives an obvious illegal order, because what will happen then is some people will obey it and some people won't, and you will have a civil war kicked off by military units, all right, where military units will be facing other military units.
Yeah, but is that a civil war, MC, or is that a coup?
That will be a civil war because the military will be fighting amongst itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
It will get bloody, and it will be violent in a way that people have never seen.
Well, let me tell you straight up. I am a civilian. I have never been in the armed service, at all. So, but from my point of view, I wouldn't take orders that told me to confiscate guns from people, like in Hurricane Katrina. I would not follow those orders. I would tell them to fuck themselves.
Well,
straight up.
Another thing is, you have to also remember, when you're in the military, you can refuse an unlawful order, and something like that would be considered an unlawful order. And this is where the fracture, like MC was talking about, would come at that point.
Where would you stand on that, Ace? You're a veteran. Where would you land?
I would not fucking confiscate anybody's fucking weapons. Nope.
Well, it kind of depends on the situation. It really, for me, it depends on the situation. The thing is, do I believe that these people that I'm confiscating weapons from are the threat, that are the enemy? All right. If I believe that the enemy, then yes, I have no problem with confiscating the weapons. All right, holding them down and putting them in a
MC, am I the enemy? Would you?
Are you the enemy? No. Could you become the enemy? Yeah.
He does have a valid point of threat and threat assessment. And it kind of goes back to the whole drone thing. Because, all right, let's say you are a part of a fucking militia, me and MC are in a fucking military unit, and you guys are outside fucking picketing us, but you have weapons.
No, let's just go straight up with the real world scenario. Bundy Ranch. I'm on the militia, you're part of the ATF. Where do we stand, boys?
It's a different situation. The military is not the ATF. All right, it's a different situation entirely.
The Bundy Ranch, they were clearly in the wrong, weren't they?
No.
Okay,
no.
Before we
they
sorry,
won.
I'm thinking of
They won.
But here we go.
And I'm applauding
somebody else.
their win. They won, but
so before we diverge too far deep off into
Can we admit, though, if those were a bunch of black people, they'd all be dead?
There were black people there, by the way. There were black people at the Bundy Ranch supporting Bundy. So,
are we going to start talking about Flint, Michigan next? There, Willshot. Anyway,
let's say that you are a part of some sort of militia or something like that. You're outside, fucking picketing the military. Yada yada yada. You have fucking. It's a open carry state. Fucking. You have weapons on you. Whatever. Like, yes, would we be fucking eyes on you? Would we be concerned? Absolutely. But would we go to confiscate your weapons? No, because there's no threat there. You're just voicing your fucking opinion under the, First Amendment. That's whatever. But it would be a different issue if one of your members or several of your members raised a weapon towards us. Definitely.
Here's the thing, though. The Bundy Ranch standoff, the militia lined up, rifles out, scopes on, ready to shoot.
Yeah.
All right? Those weapons were fully loaded, my friend.
Okay, but you're talking about the ATF versus civilians versus military versus civilians. It's a different fucking world.
Yeah, the dynamic changes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, not just the dynamic, but the entire attitude of the one of the forces changes.
And even though there is some overlap between law enforcement and military, there are different governing philosophies, if you will.
Well, my question is, would the military have opened fire? I believe they would have.
No. The military won't engage fire in those kind of situations unless they start receiving fire to begin with.
It's
Then all hell's going to break loose.
Yeah, but then what about all the? But then all the cops who have had weapons waved to them and have defended themselves.
Cops are police officers are running police officers in the military do. Yeah, it's a different. If it's a different operation, it's a different mindset. Okay.
Because let me tell you, if them cocksuckers raise their fucking guns to me, guess what?
Yeah.
On the civilian side, completely different. But within the military, what you have is called ROE, Rules of Engagement.
Yep.
So it depends. Like okay, so when I was over in Iraq, 2009, they changed the SOFA, which is basically, what your rules of engagement are, what the agreement with that country that we're in is, and how you conduct yourself when it's a possible threat. We could literally have somebody raising their weapon to us, and at that time, we weren't allowed to fire back unless, we gave a warning shot, but we weren't allowed to actually shoot at the individual themselves. Mm-hmm. We had to wait for them to actually shoot within our main area.
Let's say they deployed the National Guard in the Bundy standoff, and a military guy lets off a warning shot.
So the military guy is not going to. He's not going to let off a warning shot.
Yeah,
you're not going to see a warning shot unless there's some kind of action.
I get the impression if you deploy something like the National Guard or even regular army in the Bundy situation, they would position themselves between the ATF and the people at the ranch.
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, if the military is getting involved, the first thing that's going to happen is the military will move the civilians out of the way. They don't care who you are.
They will also assess the situation themselves. They won't rely on second-hand information.
Now, there are things that can trigger people to fire. I'm not going to lie to you. All right. If you attack them, if you attack that unit, all right, that unit will respond. Now, that attack does not need to necessarily be, and this is something people don't understand, it does not necessarily need to be with firearms. If you start pelting them with rocks, it's very possible they'll respond with open fire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Because you're using deadly force against us, we're going to use deadly force against you. And whether or not you chose to use the superior firepower, we're here to present superior firepower.
Well,
we're not here to tone things down.
It would have been a different situation from the get-go also, because you wouldn't have had just police officers on foot, but you would have had armored vehicles. If you're calling in the National Guard, then come on.
Well, possibly.
You know what I mean?
Possibly. I mean, it depends on the situation. I mean, one of the things that you don't want to do is you don't want to sit up there and take like an armored unit, all right, and have them doing patrols. That's not the purpose of an armored unit. Okay, it's a misuse, and we try to. I'm not going to go into that. Sorry.
The best takeaway. Okay, so yes, we in a military type scenario, and the thing that you also have to understand is what we're talking about, Bundy Ranch versus what I was talking about being deployed to Iraq. Is I'm in a combat scenario where most likely I'm going to get shot at, I'm going to get blown up. So in the American sense of like being back on the mainland, you're sitting here looking at more of like, are they really going to go that far? There's more reasonable doubt that they won't go that far. So you're basically giving somebody every opportunity not to have to get return fire or something like that.
So what you're saying is pretty much because it would be the American military against Americans, they're less likely to squeeze the trigger.
Most likely, the thing is you're in a peacekeeping role, not in a combat role.
Yes,
that's
right.
the biggest difference.
Honestly, I don't see the military initiating hostilities if they can avoid it.
No, they
was
won't.
The better way of expressing it, that it's a more of a peacekeeping role than is a combat role.
We don't like peacekeeping roles, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. No. God, no. It's not. No.
Peacekeeping
Look
roles.
how well it works in the fucking UN.
I'll tell you right now, peacekeeping rules suck.
But
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. If you don't necessarily like what's going on to begin with, and you're placed there staring down your scope at other Americans, are you gonna squeeze the trigger if need be, or are you gonna jump ship and join the other
no!
side?
So if combat begins, they become paper targets.
Yep. Absolutely. I will fucking squeeze my trigger off. I don't give a shit. Because what it really ends up coming down to in a combat type scenario, that it's now changed from peacekeeping to combat. The big thing is, a lot of people talk about flight or flight, but it's self-preservation.
Yep.
Yeah, but man, I'm talking about you're looking down the barrel. Like, you know me. We've talked.
I'll shoot the fucking shit out of you. I don't care. At that point,
because I'm complicated.
Well, let me ask a question. What happened in the Civil War? There were brothers shooting brothers, and then after the combat was over, they went to go find one another. Okay, and that's a good
segue into promoting our Civil War show tomorrow. By the way, guys, check that out. We're gonna be we're back in the East, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we're starting the Wilderness Campaign.
Oh, the Wilderness Campaign in the East. No, Chickamauga was in the West. My bad.
Well, South, but yeah. I mean, it was.
But no, that's kind of what I was getting at. You're looking down the barrel at your own countrymen.
I'll tell you.
I think a few people would think twice before they squeeze the trigger. I'm just saying.
I'll tell you like this: I don't even give a shit if it's my own fucking brother, mother, or whoever the fuck it is. If they're on the opposite side and they are aggressing towards me, they are firing at me.
If you're in a combat situation, you're not even looking at people like that.
Yep.
No, it's live or die.
Yep.
You have a different mentality. You don't think about who you're shooting in those kind of environments. You are shooting to put an end to the violence. You think about it afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Nah, you're thinking to survive, not to die. Everything else is secondary at that point.
Yep.
Your training will kick in, and you everything is overlaid. Everything is overlaid. You become that's why I said you become a paper target.
Can a militia stand up to the National Guard, much less the real armed forces of the United States?
Unlikely.
What? Wait. Hold on.
It's not impossible, but it's unlikely.
Wait. How do you mean stand up to them? Do you mean withstand combat with them, or just stand up and say, wait, hold on, right there, fella, come no further?
Yeah, okay. That's a double-edged statement you made there.
We go into a shooting engagement. Can a militia at least
talking about in terms of combat prowess? Like in terms of combat, in that sense, no. In an open fight, militia will be absolutely annihilated. It's only it hopes is complete and total.
It does come down to numbers, equipment, and training.
Yes, and the other thing is what are you looking at? Are you looking at something that's very short and very, very simple? In a short engagement, can a militia unit get the upper hand? In a very short engagement, yes, but any short engagement like that's going to be minor. Okay, in a minor engagement, yes. If you're talking about full blown, take them on and stand toe to toe, there's no way.
Yes,
that's why I said.
But here's the flip sides. Okay. Is if we're talking about a more longer drawn out where it's not, forces immediately facing off of each other, the upside advantage that a militia has is they don't have to play by the rules. Yeah. So they can have more guerrilla tactics that they can work with, and that could be very detrimental to a standing military.
Yeah, your shoes untied.
Over time, in a certain regard, the thing is, in the kind of environment that he's talking about in a civil war, you'll find in civil wars more than any other places, those nicety rules go right out the friggin' window.
Yes, they do.
Well, no, and that's what's really weird too. It's like you're fighting with your brother and you go right for the throat.
Mad Dodge, I just want to give you an example. When it came to American Civil War, and it was just militia forces at first, did the militia forces succeed by just open ground combat, or did they have to use some dirty tactics to win?
Well, no, yeah, we could talk about John Mosby all we want, and Jesse James, and Bloody Bill Anderson. Yeah, like there was the militia tactics being utilized. And that's kind of what I was getting at.
And what did you have as a response?
You had the burning of Atlanta, but anyway, what I was trying to get at though is like with the Revolutionary War, you had the American army that was pretty much a militia, and they lost more battles than they ever won, but they won the war.
There was okay. First of all, there were a number of major changes that happened during the Civil War. The Revolutionary War. At the end of the Revolutionary War, it was not militia. They were standing veteran troops.
Well,
there was no militia.
Hold on, I thought the Army of the South was mainly militia.
If you're talking about the Southern campaign, sir, you're wrong, MC. I would love to have this conversation.
In the Southern campaign, they lost every freaking battle. All right, with the exception of Cowpens, when they moved in regulars, when Washington sent regulars down there, they got defeated by Cornwallis at every single turn.
No, they ran. They ran like motherfuckers, dude. But then they pinned a note and said, "This far and no further."
No, but that was when the regular army arrived.
There is another factor that a lot of people don't take into consideration when it came to the Revolutionary War, is there was a lot of people that came over from Britain to freaking fight, England, to fight against the American forces. But what a lot of them also deserted and flipped to be with their families. So we actually had more support for intel, where we could destroy supply lines for them. We could, do different things like blockades and things like that. So this is where you see the guerrilla forces better than a standing army, where we were able to. Go ahead.
That's a point. That's a point that Cabby loves to bring up all the time. He's like, "Yeah, they just took the free ride over and then joined the Americans. That's why we had the Hessians fight for us." Whatever. You could bring up that point all you want, but the fact remains: the Americans lost more battles than they won, but yet we won the war.
We won more battles by not trying to engage in the open.
Exactly. And this is guerrilla tactics.
Well, you lost more battles than you won until the French started begging their country to help you.
Yeah, I'm honestly not going to go there with the argument, because the French have also gave us really defective muskets.
Yeah. At some point, the Crown is going to look at this and say, "This is too expensive."
The great advantage that the French gave the United States was when the French Navy was able to push the British Navy off the coast.
Yeah.
All right. That made a major difference in the battle.
Yeah. The other thing is, the British Crown had to think, do I fight to keep the American colonies, or do I sort it to the French? The American colonies were second choice. That's why you were fighting Hessians.
There's that truth as well.
Well, it was a very unpopular war, and they needed every measure they can get.
It was probably all Vietnam.
Far too often.
And you had brought up Cornwallis. He was opposed to the war from the start, right?
Was it Cornwallis?
Cornwallis. And let me say this about
I can't remember.
Destroying supply routes and those guerrilla tactics and whatnot. Far too often we forget about what life was like then compared to now. So
it was shit.
If we destroy, back in fucking the 1700s, if we destroy some form of supply route, or what the troops' main supply is, it's going to take a month, if not more, for them to get freaking supplies, and it's really going to hurt the morale of the troops.
We're also talking about taking supplies from Britain all the way to the colonies, which is actually 6 months. If not more.
You know, the other reason why the main reason why the Hessians were employed, it's because of the high rate of desertion. I mean, European troops and British troops at the time, unless they were sergeant and above, they were treated worse than fucking animals.
Well, it's like the reinforcement, the supply, and to reinforce for the British Empire was extremely difficult to have all of that go to the coast. It takes forever, and that's the problem. Is they just didn't have the supplies and the reinforcements.
Well, no, and I love the history talk. I could do this all night. But I'm looking at the chat. Ant Jack is going back to the militia conversation, and he says,
"Very true."
Yeah, Ant Jack says, militias are mainly built up upon ex-servicemen. That is true. So if you're a veteran and you're staring on the other side of the line at another veteran,
you want to hear the difference? I'll tell you. I'll give you the difference. I'll give you the difference right now. All right. I'll show it to you. Ace, you still here?
Yes.
Okay. Are you in the shape that you were in when you were in the military?
Actually, I'm in better shape now.
Got off the MRE.
I'm not. Okay. The vast majority of people that get out of the military lose that edge
very quickly.
That could be, but we also have to remember that a veteran comes also experience, and that could be useful too.
Useful for experience, but the other problem that militias always suffer from is chain of command.
There's always going to be someone who's going to stand up and shout, "You ain't the boss of me."
Yeah,
exactly.
And see, there's another thing you're missing out here when you're on about physical fitness and you're on about the Revolutionary War. That was an entirely different time. You would not lose the level of fitness.
Right now. Now, the Revolutionary War is not what we're talking about, though. In this case, we're talking about an active militia type of movement today.
Right. Like, okay, here's a good example. Okay, so if we're talking about regular army versus a militia and the veterans and whatnot, all right. So, like, I still train with my fucking weapons. I train at least 3 days out of the week. I still fucking have my own plate carrier that I fucking wear. I use as training, not only for physical fitness, but also like running, carrying my weapon, things like that. And it's just me that's how I love to do fucking fitness, It derives from the fucking military, but when I could actually carry 60 fucking plus pounds plus a plate carrier and my weapon, and I could run for 5 fucking miles, like, I love that shit. Like, I'm that crazy fucking bastard. But most people, when they get out of the military, they're like, fuck that. I'm just going to fucking eat my goddamn chicken wings, drink my fucking beer, say fuck all you, and just...
Like when my dad left the army, the speed he gained a pot belly is nobody's business. Seriously.
I emulate that.
Now, see, here's what I wonder, though, when it comes to the military. Is there a process in place, or at which point would an elected representative be considered a domestic threat?
Well, in a sense, yes, because
very easily.
At one point, they were putting some veterans on the terrorist watch list, and some were blackballed from buying weapons because of it. And it was very prolific in the news during the Obama administration.
Thank you, Janet Napolitano.
Oh, yeah.
But also, it started gaining actual traction right when the Bush administration was heading out and the Obama administration was just getting their foot on the ground. So it's kind of been a thing, but at the same time, it's one of those like, okay, we should watch these people because now it starts to bleed into could they be a far right extremist type thing or a far left?
See, that's what I like that you brought up, the far right extremists, because if you look at the list that was released, like 3 or 4 years ago, they're putting libertarians on there, veterans.
So that's where you
constitutionalists, all sorts of people.
Maybe I should clarify my question.
Okay.
Because I think you're I think you took it away I didn't intend. So I'm going to use an example that really happened. When the Affordable Care Act was put up before the Congress to vote on, and it was voted in, and then Nancy Pelosi made that famous statement, you have to pass it to see what's in it. Since she had taken an oath of office that included upholding and defending the U.S. Constitution, would that not make her a domestic threat to the
No.
Constitution?
That would not. No.
Okay. See, that's what I'm trying to figure out, is at what point would the military, I don't want to say be required to act against an elected representative.
Okay.
No,
But see, I know this is a tough spot.
Okay, well,
And I
against
understand
an
that.
elected representative would come out if, for example, Nancy Pelosi came closer to being declared or being thought of as a possible national threat when she said, "I have the same powers as the president."
Ooh,
Okay,
yeah, that,
all right.
I mean,
Yeah.
but
that puts you in a bad
I
place.
do have questions.
Let's
No, she didn't exactly say that. She said, "I'm as powerful as the president." She didn't say.
let's
powers.
not
But-
use an
but that's
actual
what I'm-
politician by name. Let's say Jake
Well, any-
Jacobson.
Okay, whoever, Jacobson, whatever. All right, could an elected official, if become a domestic threat to where they say take out that individual? All right. First of all, a single individual is not going to be deemed a threat the military needs to handle, because that is the role of law enforcement. All right, that there's a Posse Comitatus Act involved in that. So a single individual, no. If that individual, however, has a group behind them that's armed, then yes, that's what it's going to take. They would have to have an armed support group behind them.
Well, may I point out that the oath mentions nothing about an armed threat.
It doesn't, but we're not. The reality is Posse Comitatus deals with threats that are not from a non-armed group. All right.
Well, okay, so I could kind of see his point, especially with the Affordable Care Act. All right, and one could argue that the whole taxation without representation. Now, where was the representation?
She's a representative.
Nah, but that
She
doesn't
is a
represent
legislator,
me.
and
She
she
doesn't
is the
represent me.
representative. And the legislators passed it. They are
But-
our designated representative.
She doesn't represent me. And so if somebody who is within my state, my representative,
All the people voted on it.
No, not all the people. I didn't vote somebody like
All
me.
your representatives
I
voted
think,
on it.
I think he was saying your representative. What he meant was your representatives voted on it.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm saying, what if somebody who is not a representative of my state did not vote on it, and all these other individuals did? There's not that representation of my voice. And so it is a slippery slope. One could argue that that's not what I'm, definitely arguing for. I'm not saying like somebody's in the right or wrong, but where somebody could consider them a domestic terrorist.
Right, but we're talking about what the military.
Well, no, I'm not even
that's
talking
gonna
about
kick off a
terrorism.
military view of what's a domestic threat.
Yeah, no, and so with that being said, a military view, if you don't have arms behind you, we don't give a shit about you.
So,
Like
so
we
let's
don't,
say,
we don't care.
so let's say if like the Black Panthers became a thing again, they have numbers behind them, and they start actually having armed individuals making attacks. Would the military get involved then?
Yeah, because this time they'd have vibranium.
Possibly. Well, is it possible for us to get called out against a group that's trying to take territory at that point? Yes, we could be called out in that situation.
And what would happen in something like that is first they would work within the FBI, CIA, those type of resources, the more quote unquote domestic resources. And if the threat got too large where they're like, these motherfuckers are just too much to handle, like we need fucking other eyes on that have better fucking manpower, that's when they would call in the military.
Hey, wasn't there a black girl not so long back who was crying racism because she wasn't allowed to start a Daughters of the Black Panther group at her school?
Well, actually, that makes sense though, because if we're going to argue civil war and shit, obviously the law enforcement is the first line then, and then if things get too fucking far, obviously military will have to come in.
Oh yeah, from what I'm getting is that there has to be a certain degree of escalation from the flashpoint.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it has to be armed. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen without arms.
Here's a good example. Okay, so Milwaukee a couple of years ago, the guy's name, I want to say it was Syville Smith. He got shot and killed by a Milwaukee police officer. There was protests planned, and during that time, how the fucking protests went. It got fucking violent. It got stupid and whatnot. Well, the fucking governor activated the National Guard, and by the time the National Guard actually got out there, and I was living in Milwaukee at this time, I was not far away from where they were protesting and rioting. By the time the National Guard actually got out there, it was damn near done. Like the protests to the riots and all that, it was damn near done. Because what ended up happening was law enforcement said, yeah, this is, going down. I think we have the numbers. I'm not sure, but just in case, can we activate the National Guard? So from the time they activated to the time they deployed, there was almost a 12 to 36 hour period where a bunch of other fucking violent shit could have gone down. But luckily it didn't. But at the same time, that's another thing that people aren't really understanding. We have times of in between, to get everybody in, to get everything fucking lined up with our vehicles, get it staged, everybody briefed on the situation, and then actually deploying them into the situation. And with that being said, like I said, it was damn near done.
The fact that you're announcing that you're deploying the National Guard has an effect of people realizing, okay, do I want to continue this? Because if you want to continue it with the National Guard in there, you'd better be prepared for an actual combat situation. Let's be perfectly frank. The American people are not prepared for combat. They aren't.
Well, and that's another thing that I think is another big takeaway is if it comes down to a standoff, just knowing that the American military, whether it be in a National Guard or active duty status, that says a lot to the person on the other side of do I really want to go down this route? No, they'll fuck me up. And only the people who are really looking to fuck up some shit, destroy life around for everybody else, and don't give a shit about anything else, those are the people who are really going to walk that line.
Oh, there are Americans that'll do it. There are dumbasses that will do it. That happened at Kent State.
Well, no, and I don't know about that. Sometimes, you have a hill that you're willing to die on.
Well, they're willing to martyr you, no problem.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We'll even give you the big white suit so you can stand out.
It's one thing saying it, and it's another thing seeing the military lined up in front of you and realizing this is a path.
Yeah.
So
you see that line of soldiers, and if the words "we're fucked" don't go through your head, you're irrational. I mean, unless you've got some backup that's fucking Tony Stark level.
My reaction would be, see that soldiers, don't get good old boys a cup of coffee each. Doesn't go through your head.
Well, let's be fair. Ideology doesn't necessarily equal smarts.
No, it doesn't.
No, and I think you guys are missing the idea here. The Bunny Ranch standoff. All right. If the military would have been there, instead of the ATF, do you think they would have still been lined up?
Yes.
I think they would have. I think they would have pushed. They were gonna die on that hill, dude.
I think there would have been a lot more talking though if the military turned up.
Well, I mean,
the military turned up and they opened fire, there would have been a bloodbath.
Right, yes. But I think before any fire was exchanged, a military presence would have led to more negotiation.
Yeah.
Before gunfire is exchanged.
And like I said, I think the military turning up, they would have stopped the ATF. They would have stopped the guys at the ranch.
Oh no, they would have been taken off the line. The ATF and all the people, like I said, the civilian group there. If the military gets there, the civilian groups are moved out of the way. You can't have the civilians in the way.
Yeah, and we will force them down to a liaison from their fucking bureau to fucking interact with what we have going on with military operations. And the thing about it is, you have to understand, and somebody did bring this up, of like, there's the one idiot that will fucking shoot. Like, okay, but at the same time, like, that fanatical fucking asshole, because there's always going to be that fanatical asshole.
Yeah, there's always a McVeigh.
Yeah. So, like, they'll see the military show up and, like, they'll try to do the whole rally the troops and, like, oh, yeah, look at these fascists. They're trying to suppress our rights and blah, blah, blah.
Shut up, Carl.
Yeah, typically. Yeah.
Carl.
Yeah. Carl, Jody is fucking your wife. Get the fuck back to her. And he's like, oh, shit. Gotta go. But...
He'll grab a rifle out of his hand, slap him each side of the face, get to the back of the line.
Yeah, and that poor gay kid called Jody gets shot for nothing.
Fuck it. But
now, see, the reason I ask about that domestic threat thing is because not too long ago, before the election of President Trump, we had, or maybe it was just after, but we had a group of Democrat representatives who did their anti-Second Amendment sit-in. Mm-hmm. I forget all the details of it. But, and, you know, I would kind of say that it's their right to have that sit-in, freedom of speech, First Amendment, because I'm all for that. But at the same time, if they've taken an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, well, the Second Amendment is included. Mm-hmm. So the sit-in, is inappropriate.
The issue at that point is we have to be given. We're waiting for orders.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I would say that's more up to the voters to look at that and say,
not the voters.
That asshole needs to go away.
At that point, it's not the voters. Believe it or not, the person who can sit up there and send us into action is the President of the United States.
One thing I'm wondering.
No, I don't mean the voters to decide military action.
Yeah, one thing.
I mean, at the level of sit-in, it's up to the voters to vote those assholes out of office.
Well, the voters can vote those people out of office, but at the same time, if the president said they become a threat to us, they need to be removed, you could see the military swing for if there's circumstances behind this, but
yeah, I mean,
you could see the president order a removal of these individuals by force. Now, granted, if they're just doing a sit-in, that's going to be done by other elements. That's not going to be done by the military.
Right, that's what I mean. The military,
but if the military has to be called in because they got weapons and it's like a terrorist situation, and you got something like that looks like a Delta Force situation going on. You can see the military activated in that kind of a situation. All right, there will be a possible military unit activated. Most likely, it will be one of the special forces, either Delta Force, which is our hostage force.
There's one thing I'm curious about. True leftists. I mean, true leftists, not the idiots who complain about first world problems. They're always planning for revolution.
Yeah.
And a lot of these true leftists are the ones who are pushing to get rid of your First Amendment, correct?
Oh, yeah.
The thing is it me, or are these the type that once everybody else has got rid of, had the guns taken off them, they'll be the only ones with guns?
Well, they will be the only one. The military will be the only one with guns.
Oh no, this lot will have their guns tucked away somewhere. Believe me.
No, well, and that's what could kick off. Believe it or not, depending upon how that situation comes down. That could kick off a civil war.
Yep.
Depends on. There are a number of scenarios where I can see a civil war beginning under certain circumstances. All right, and a civil war would require the military units fighting military units, because otherwise it'll just be the military wiping out a domestic group, and that's what would happen.
That's how it starts.
So wait a minute though. So you're saying that people like me, no matter how many guns we collect, how no matter how much we group up, we don't stand a chance. That's your assumption.
In a long term battle against the armed forces of the United States, you will be dead.
No, but I can melt away into the woods, man.
You will be surrounded. That entire woods will be surrounded, and you will be hunted down like dogs.
I would like to point out that melting away into the woods will not protect you from a napalm strike by air.
Well, not only that, okay, melting into the woods is not a viable option. Okay, people think
Not anymore.
People think, the military, like, yes, we're talking about fucking boots on ground, fucking clearing fucking houses.
Yeah, you're
clearing
gonna
different
clear.
land. But
No, man.
wait, hold on.
Dude, Ace, I like you. I like you, man. But wait,
hold on.
Wait a minute, man.
Wait.
No.
Let me finish.
You're talking about trying to cover a portion of the Western United States that's 80% federal land. It's 80% undeveloped. You're telling me
I think we are better prepared in a logistical sense.
Helicopters heat-seeking.
Let Ace finish.
Let me just state this: the military, especially within military intelligence, we do have different capabilities that we will find your fucking ass or find your encampment, and we will decimate you.
Wait, you'll reduce them by 1/10?
I don't care if it's 1/10 or 1
All right.
millionth.
Well, no. Here's a different issue. Real quick, Batman. You brought up napalm, right?
No, that was me.
Are you gonna napalm American citizens? That's what you're talking about here.
Yeah, we could napalm American citizens.
Yeah, especially considered enemies of the state. But
Well, I think it comes down to the level of the threat.
Right.
If
We're
it's
not gonna- we're not gonna
one
wipe out
guy, if it's one guy shouting "Blah!" in the city square and then running off into the woods, even if he's proven to be a threat, I don't think the entire military will be sent after him in
I'll
one
ask you a
go.
question, Mad Dodge. How long do you think you can survive in the desert?
I know how to hunt. I know how to fish.
I understand you know how to hunt and you know how to fish. How long do you think you can survive with a sizable force in the desert?
Well, as soon as they
How did we get from the woods to the desert?
flying above the camp, they'll find me because I would
Okay,
totally do
the
that.
same thing. The same
You'll
thing
never hear-
applies. You're acting as if the military doesn't have specialists that can do the same thing. All right, in forest environments or whatever.
Yeah.
The reality
Yeah, but you're talking
is
about
that
my
if it was
backyard.
if it
What I'm
was
talking to you about
it
is
can
like
be in your backyard. This is playtime's over. The military's capabilities, and I'm not going to go into what Ace is talking about because there are certain aspects of what Ace is talking about that are very real. You do not have the capability of even coming close, all right, to hiding from us for any length of time.
Look, we can slice and dice it all we want. We all know that if you're hiding from the military, if there is a civil war, the military will find you eventually. There's just
But it won't be a civil war. Like I said, in that situation where the military is still united, we will sit up there.
Could you imagine the political outcry, though?
We're not
if you napalm American citizens in the Western United States.
At that point right there, if the United States military is doing that kind of thing, I can guarantee you, if the military hasn't fractured and it's not fighting amongst themselves, then the United States doesn't care. All right, the military doesn't care what the civilians are thinking. We're there to do a job, and we're there to sit up there and get the mission done. It isn't a matter of what you think we're going to do.
So, and that's why I just said capabilities, because I'm not going to go into details, MC. Like, I fucking refuse to fucking put anything out there. Like, my ass ain't going to fucking go up on trial and have them fucking put that NDA in front of me. Nope.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking, is that you guys are going to know some things that you can't talk about.
At the same time, let me say this. It does come back to a threat assessment, okay? So, let's say Dodge is fucking, out there in the Pacific Northwest. It's come down to the military versus the civilians. Is he one man against the military, or does he actually have a force behind him? What is the threat assessment there? You know, is it really worth the military to take him out? Because
Why
it's
would
just
exactly, and
Yeah.
the military would have to have a reason for being in the situation to begin with.
Well,
And,
no,
and
and
a
if you
single
go into
individual
the-
running into the woods is not going to be a reason for bringing in the military. It just isn't.
Well, no, you're absolutely correct, MC. But like, if you went into a position where there might be another American civil war, for lack of a better term, I don't believe the first war was a civil war. I believe it was a war of northern aggression. But anyway,
You just need semantics. You just deny.
yeah,
reality like a
exactly.
leftist.
But no, fuck that.
Budget
When you have governors of states declaring their national guard on the other side, when
No.
you have people like the governor of California, are they gonna come send their troops up to Oregon to fight?
No,
I
the
doubt it.
National Guard. There is no National Guard. Okay, this idea that the National, notice the word, it's National Guard. Yes, governors are given authority to call on the National Guard and in certain circumstances, but they are part of the armed forces of the United States. They are not an independent force.
Yeah,
that
they
has
are
already
not-
been established by the Supreme Court.
they are not beholden to their state. They are beholden to the fucking nation.
Yep.
Yep. Yes, the answer to the commander in chief.
Yep.
Essentially, they're just as federal as the rest of the military.
Yes, they are.
Well, then why have a National Guard service? Because the argument is
Simple.
the Second
What if
Amendment of the United
like a civil
States.
war does happen?
Well,
I guess you
real quick,
force that.
real quick. The argument, though, boils down to the Second Amendment of the United States is talking about a armed militia, and they say the National Guard is said militia.
No, the National Guard is not the militia that they're talking about. The National Guard has nothing to do with the militia that they're referring to in the Second Amendment. It does not.
The militia they're referring to in the
I
Second
agree with
Amendment
you.
is
I'm
us.
saying-
And
well, no, I totally agree. I'm saying, though, that's the left's argument.
Well, yeah,
and the left are wrong. What a surprise!
Well,
that's a
surprised
leftist
lefties are wrong
argument.
again.
Yeah, exactly. They should accuse you in the first part. It's a leftist argument. What does that tell you?
The Mad Dodge, I think you missed the key about a militia force, though, because you're saying about hiding in the woods. The answer isn't to hide. The answer is to keep moving. More
That's true.
effective guerrilla warfare groups always use a mobile HQ. That's their objective. They can't, if they stay in one place, they're going to die eventually. Why else do you think the Taliban keeps hiding in different places all the time? They keep moving. There's no other option.
Because
Well,
look
they
at
run
this.
across the
Here-
board.
here's a
Let's be
question.
honest. The Taliban only exists. The only reason the Taliban exists, all right, is because there's a national border that we were ordered to avoid going across.
Yeah, because Bush is a pussy.
Well, but here's a question. So let's say there's a Red Dawn scenario, right? Japan never felt like they could invade the United States because behind every blade of grass there'd be a rifle. You know, that was a true statement.
They were trying to seize territory.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, nowadays with the left and their antics, they're trying to take away the guns from the populace, which means there won't be a rifle behind every blade of grass.
Bullshit.
Doesn't that open us up?
Bullshit. You know how many guns I have? You don't, because I'm not
At
gonna
last
fucking
count,
tell
you
ya.
had 15.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you how many guns.
How many guns do I have?
all.
Not enough. I plan to get more.
Which is why
not
I would
only
always argue the Second Amendment should always be a thing. Yeah.
Okay, fine. You want to come in? Let's go to the far extreme of they want to go. All right, gun confiscation. All right. Well, here's my fucking gun safe. You know, I have a fucking 40 in there, and I have an AR-15. Go ahead and take them. But bitch, you don't know how many I have buried around the fucking house.
Can you remember this is actually in point here. Can you remember Police Academy? Well, can you remember Tackleberry?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody outside the United States thought he was a caricature, and I was talking to a friend of mine on MSN Messenger and mentioned him and said, "Yeah, what a caricature of American gun culture." My friend turned around and says, "Actually, I know several people like that."
Mm-hmm.
And I know people who make him look mild.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, that's I've said before that I think our military in America is not just there to protect us from the rest of the world. It's also there to protect the rest of the world from us.
Yeah.
To an extent.
That's
one of the things that I tried to warn people about. One of the
because you get
comments that
across,
I've made,
if you can get past our military and get to the United States proper, you better hope to God you don't find one of us crazy motherfuckers who wants to eat you.
I want to say something right now. The most dangerous conservative organization on the planet is not the neo-Nazis. It's not the KKK. It is
U.S.
the
Postal
US
Service.
military. No, it's the U.S. military. For this reason, if the U.S. military ever, as a whole, starts looking at the Constitution as something that's just a piece of paper rather than holding it in higher regard, you guys, the rest of the civilian world, is screwed.
Yes.
Because there is literally nothing that's going to stop us, and then there's no care. If the Constitution is meaningless to us, all right, that's when all hell can break loose. That's why it's dangerous to play these friggin' games the left plays with the Constitution. Because the more times they tear it apart, the closer we go down that road.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I thought it was a dead document.
Well,
oh God, no!
I didn't. What do you get up over the dead document?
Because
Well,
Mad
no,
Dog
they
thinks
keep
it's a
the nice
dead
thing-
document. That's why Mad Dog thinks it's a dead document.
It is not a living document. Words don't fucking change their meanings because you move 100 years. And that's not how this fucking
I would
works.
actually argue that the U.S. Constitution and especially the Bill of Rights right now is more relevant than ever.
Oh shit, Pinot joined. But I will say this with the fucking military. The beautiful thing about the military is it is a fucking mixed bag of fucking people.
Right now,
even when I served in this was
right now as it exists. But one of the problems is this is one of the problems I warn people else about making it an all volunteer force. You are now seeing, all right, a situation where it used to be when my dad was an officer, so I became an officer because my grandfather was an officer. It's a family tradition. All right, you always had that aspect of it in the civilian in the officer corps.
Well,
you're starting to see that same thing start to apply in the enlisted corps as well. And if that becomes more and more of a trend, you will start to see a bifurcation. All right, between the military and the civilian world.
And I bring up it's a mixed bag because of the left and right. You have a bunch of different people with different ideologies that we might not all agree on things like abortion or the Second Amendment or things like that, but we all get along. And that's one of the beautiful things about the military is like I have a buddy who's a fucking through and through fucking Marxist. And like I served with him, and like we don't agree, but we still fucking get along pretty damn good. Like we just don't talk politics.
Right. I bet he doesn't talk politics at all because the military is very conservative, especially the Army. Now the Air Force is considerably more liberal. The Navy is more liberal, is not more liberal than the Air Force, but it is the second most liberal group. Their real conservatives all end up in the Marines.
Oh, do you know what to say about the Navy? In every port.
I would probably say the most hardcore fucking conservative group is probably the Marines, though.
Yeah. Well, no, they are. The Marines are the
one thing to say from somebody who's not American. Out of all the American armed branches of the American Armed Forces, the U.S. Marines are the ones who actually do have respect outside of the United States.
That's because we have wussies for freaking officers in the Army.
Yes,
because you have idiots in every branch of the army.
That's why fucking I'm sure MC you'll get a kick out of this because you said it, you were an officer. I literally got "kiss my ass" tattooed in Gaelic on my fucking forearm, so when I would salute my officers, it would say "kiss my ass."
You did that in the British Army. Somebody would recognise it, and you'd be an older shot.
All right. Well, let's put it this way: there used to be some people in Field Station Berlin, right back when the wall was there and the Soviets had surrounded everything.
Yeah.
And they got Cyrillic shirts that said "Don't shoot, I know secrets," and they were running around for about 3 years before an officer who actually understood Russian. Like, why are these guys running around with T-shirts and all say?
First order of business, survival.
The thing is, though, from what I've heard, most American soldiers, like in the army, don't realize that when you salute an officer, you're not paying respect to the officer, you're paying respect to his rank. And in the American case, you're paying respect to Congress, to the president.
There's an old saying. There's an old saying in the army. It's respect the rank, not the person.
Yeah.
Yep.
I recognize your rank. I respect your rank, but you as an individual, I don't necessarily respect.
Yeah, because
you have to get to a point though with that individual.
Well, yeah, I mean, disrespect is earned every bit as much as respect.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And like, this is a point where I could diverge deeply into like how fucked up the military is at this point, but like, I'd rather not go down that fucking road.
Well, I imagine that it is fucked up and it's not fucked up at the same time.
No, it's from my
if
time.
You know what I mean.
When I was I had an 8-year gap. All right, where I was out of I was in the service for about 12 years, and then I got out under an early out program because they wanted us to leave because the peace dividend and they were trying to do it. But the status that I got on allowed me to get called back. So when the Afghanistan Iraq war hit, I got called back. I was one of those people.
Before you go on,
you got stop loss.
Is asking for you to take back the insult by calling the Navy a liberal branch of the military.
I said it's more liberal than the Army. It's less liberal than the Air Force.
Well, the question I have to ask just real quick then is, if we're in a sort of left-right war type of situation, would those sectors that are considered more liberal defect, or is that even possible?
No, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, it has very little to do with that because it goes back.
Could you imagine the Marines on all those ships turning against the Navy guys like that?
Let's talk about what would happen. In order for something like that to happen, you would have to have some kind of mutiny. All right, on each and every one of those ships.
Right, because they're all under the same chain of command.
Right. So how is that going to happen? It's not going to happen that way. Now, like I said, a true civil war is going to happen when military units fight military units. In those kind of scenarios, the Navy initially will be absolutely in chaos because there will be fighting on ships if it does come to blows. Okay. And to be honest, most likely what will happen is a ship will pull into port, and then a group of people, whoever was whichever one was outnumbered, right, would be put ashore, and then that unit would then become an asset to whatever group that they've the majority on that ship went with. Right?
I mean,
but that happening is not
bloody likely.
Well, I was going to say, MC, let's be honest. The only time that the Navy is going to come to blows like that is when they're arguing who's going to have the turn in the fucking glory hole.
He's not wrong.
Who knew that squids had lips?
But even if you remember, even during the U.S. Civil War, how much of a combat was really relegated to the Navy? Actually, very little.
Yeah.
No, only one coastline.
Well,
2.5.
Yeah, because the concept that in a true civil war, military versus military seems like a strange concept, given the doctrine involved.
Well, see, I would actually argue that we are already in a state of civil war. It just hasn't done very well in graduating to the level of gunfire.
Yeah, the thing is, I also find it weird because I remember a lot of the civilian conservatives talking about that military been on their side, and I'm not exactly sure if that's going to be the case at all.
Well, no, it would depend upon the circumstance.
Yeah.
You can't make that kind of an assumption.
We're in a state of civil war, but it's civil war discourse.
It's a non-civil discourse.
They call that a soft civil war, but there's every opportunity.
Could it graduate into a civil war? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think that Styx really underplays the chances of a real civil war All right, but it isn't going to go. It isn't going to happen the way he thinks it could happen. All right, like I said, it would have to be something that military units would start fighting other military units for. And right now, it isn't going to be from an ideological standpoint. It can get to that point, but it's unlikely. We're nowhere near that portion yet. What would require it is people's belief in the Constitution that both sides, both groups are thinking, I'm supporting the Constitution. They're the side that isn't. Therefore, I'm on this side. They're on that side. It's going to take something like that. All right. Right now, under this situation, it's not very likely. Under Hillary Clinton, I can see a lot more scenarios where that could have happened.
Yeah, and I strongly suspect that Hillary's side would have lost.
Well, honestly, it depends on a lot of circumstances. It really does. All right, but so which units went where? I
can't see somebody like Hillary Clinton getting a decent sized portion of the military on their side.
Well, if she was the president of the United States, it's not a matter of they're being on her side. They're
Right.
being on the side of the commander in chief.
Right. But I can see where maybe not a overly significant number, but some number of military personnel would probably remember one guy's name and decide to work against her, even as commander in chief.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's name is Benghazi.
Yeah, that would add fuel to the fire. I won't deny that.
Oh yeah,
no,
absolutely it would.
That would add plutonium to the fire.
That was uranium, actually.
I would go step farther and set a complete nuclear fire.
Now, imagine this, though. Play with this little scenario. Do you think that should there be another American Civil War, that it will only consist of two sides?
Who said it is going to be two sides?
Yeah, there's
two sides of a blanket ideology, or is it going to be two sides of completely different alliances with all their different goals?
There'll be two sides that are armed with the U.S. military. And that's what the two sides are going to.
That's certain, yes.
But let's be honest. No war is just two sides. We look at it definitely as two sides, but there are definitely splintering. The goddamn.
Well, there'll be splintered factions. There's no doubt about that.
Factions. Thank you.
But from the what'll happen then is you'll still have military. You'll have military on military, and it'll be that going against one another. There won't be a third. At this point in time, there won't be something like a triumvirate where you've got three different, Roman legions. And Roman generals fighting one another or for territory. Now, can the America go down the Roman model? Yeah, it can. There's a lot of scenarios that I can see the United States bifurcating to the point where we go the Roman way.
MC, in that scenario, it said there'd be more than two sides. What's got me chuckling is, can you imagine a gay pride suicide bomber?
I could actually see that though. Like that's a fucked up thing. Like I could actually imagine that.
Now imagine some gay guy in a fursuit just coming into like a base in the front going, "Yes, motherfuckers!" And
as soon as they come in with those chaps hanging out, that'll be the end of them.
He's just
now let's imagine the military doesn't take part because they're too smart to get involved, and it winds up being a major firefight against the LGBTQS, MOUSE, and the furries and the libertarians, and just oh my god!
Wait a minute.
It would be the. I think there would be enough small factions. It would be just
libertarians are furry wannabes. Anyway,
Republicans with bongs.
It would be hilarious. I would admit the military would sit back and laugh watching the show. Colorful, very bright and colorful and practically neon civil war broke out.
Many of you guys don't remember, but there was a situation where a group in Philadelphia, right, had basically barricaded themselves and were ready to go basically
yes,
go
I
to
do.
war. All right, and they basically got a helicopter. The state patrol got a helicopter, all right, and dropped a bomb on the complex.
Yep.
Okay. Now they screwed it up. It started a fire. The idiots shot at the fire department trying to put out the fire. So the mayor basically said, "Let it burn," and that thing burned down an entire block. Okay.
Yes, I remember this.
Right. We in the military. I was in the military at the time when this happened. Right. We were laughing our asses off. Because it's on. This is what civilians are like when they try to go and use military style tactics in this kind of a situation.
Right.
It was just hilarious.
That's why when we have a commander in chief who was not part of the military himself, and even if he was, he's going to have military advisors.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a reason for the Joint Chiefs.
I think we should also remember, if there is a civil war, the possibility would be that you just have two fringe groups running at each other, shooting at each other, trying to instigate shit, and then the military might just come in and wipe them out. Anyway,
the thing is, if the feminists decide to fight a civil war against the LGBTQ or whatever, would it just be a load of handbags flailing and eye scratching?
No, it's going to be really confusing.
Are you suggesting in a very specific type of American Civil War that combat would be reduced to Filipino slap fighting?
Yes.
Let me paint this picture for you. Okay, so
Christ.
you're part of the military, right? There's a civil war with the LGBT fucking +5 fucking 38 whatever fucking, they're part of the fucking resistance.
Yeah, the LGBT.
Right?
We need a new.
So you're sitting there at your fucking you're sitting there at your checkpoint, and you see some fucking person a chasse up, and they're just waddling, and you're like, "Excuse me, sir, stop!" And they're like, "Did you just misgender me?"
It's ma'am.
Boom. And they fucking like, you're gonna be really confused. Like, I misgendered somebody. The fucking gays hate me. What the fuck is this, a tranny? I don't know if it's a sir, a ma'am. What the?
There's another thing. In any form of war, even civil war, there are spies. Yeah, undercover agents. The LGBT side would be shite. I mean, can you imagine it? Some guy there in a dress.
I think you just destroyed "Don't Ask, Don't Tell."
And excuse me, sir, it's ma'am. You're a spy. Bang.
They would just have Milo being their spy. We all know that, but no.
I imagine that if the LGBT and I mean the ones that are the only thing that keeps them from actually igniting is that there's no gasoline. I'm talking to people who are flaming that hard. They would not move quickly because of the fucking platform shoes. And if they launched a good stiff fart, it would knock them over.
Mitch, I think you're mistaking LGBT for pimps.
The pimp wouldn't be getting involved. The pimps are too smart. They're going to sit in the pink Cadillac with the fur coat and the fucking hat and the cane. They're going to be going to their buddy, go, watch this shit.
Yeah, they'll be with the hat and the cane, and we send them a freaking hose to go sit up there and sleep with them.
You know why?
Because they have cash.
Because they're business people, and they know that their part in the war is to handle business, not combat. You check this shit out. Right. You know.
Well, no. On that note, guys, we've gone over 3 hours, and my wife's out of town, so I got to make dinner. So
okay.
I'll be wrap this shit up, B.
I really got to piss.
Well, no, and the kids are gonna create their own civil war here in my house. So yeah,
no platform shoes.
It's a civil war every night in your house.
Well, hey, three boys, yeah, it's automatically set up to be bad.
At least in the home, everyone's a domestic threat, and you don't have to ask these questions.
Okay, now answer me this: How many people are now saying envisioning Mad Dodge dressed as Huggy Bear was in "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker"?
Oh, good God!
No, I see Mad Dodge more like Buffalo Bill sitting there on the stove, like
Precious.
You want these hot dogs?
I definitely see Mad Dodge sitting on a pair of glass.
Wait. You mean Apple Jacks and Pop Tarts isn't
Oh,
a good
God.
dinner? God damn it!
I just got this horrible thought of a suicide bomber before pressing the button shouts, "It puts the lotion on its skin."
It's
so-
ma'am. Click.
All right. Well, no. On that note, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Surprisingly enough. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, they're gonna wrap it up because they don't want you to see that cock.
LGBTQ suicide bomber caught putting his face on before pressing the button.
Put the fucking suicide bomb in the basket.
That's a problem. You would have 24-hour notice because it would take so long for them to put their face on.
But no, thank you everybody for coming out. Please like, subscribe if you haven't, and hey, Creepy Little Book's going live here in a few minutes. Go check him out. That's a good channel. So follow this up with heading over there. Tell him Mad Dog sent you. Take it easy, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with the Civil War stream. I know nobody gives a fuck, but hey, we're rolling on. Good night. Good luck. Don't go to France without a furry suit, Cass.
Don't support the doctors.
And make sure it's bright fucking yellow.
And I got it in again.
Damn right. We're out of here. Peace.